Content Writing Step by Step. A comprehensive guide to crafting compelling content for digital platforms. Written by Dale Kennedy. Published by Audiobook Nexus.
Introduction. Content writing is the art and science of writing. Great text that sells services or products and inspires people who want to be writers. Customers will be able to make an educated selection. Experts in this field offer a wide range of definitions of what content writing is. The primary goal of this firm is to offer items or services. Every effective copywriter in the world is aware of the most unique tactics for leading their firm. This is due to their level of expertise and experience. It is the best time to learn the principles of article writing in depth. There are several techniques for writing sales-oriented copy that will help you achieve success. A well-written piece of content can make or ruin any marketing effort. Knowing this reality will give you the confidence to engage in professional content writing. Chapter 1. The difference between content writing and copywriting. There is a significant distinction between creating ad copy and writing for content's sake. I intend to clarify the distinctions between the two and start you on the fast track to developing a copywriting style that sells. Continue reading to learn how to sell more in your business. Let's begin with content creation. When writing for content, you're not worried about the reader's time or capturing their interest. Much of what you're doing here is attempting to construct a picture, elicit emotions, and give an escape for the reader. Content writing, whether fiction or nonfiction, necessitates a great deal of description, backstory, and character development. You are there to get in and get out while you're copywriting. You want to provide only the information required to close the deal with that reader. There are no characters to grow into. Instead, you're seeking to envelop the reader's emotions around the product or service, showing them what it's like to live with or without your offering. When you write content, the tale happens, most of the time, independently of the reader. In contrast, in copywriting, the tale immerses the reader in the dialogue as the other participant. There is no cast of characters in copywriting. It's simply a discussion between the author and a possible consumer. You are attempting to elicit as many emotions as possible, similar to content writing, but you are doing so to close a sale rather than construct a storyline. People's attention spans for advertising are quite brief. They despise being marketed to, yet they enjoy purchasing. As a result, the copywriter's task is to communicate the sales message in the least salesy way possible, merely demonstrating to the buyer that their life would be much better if they acquire your goods. One of the most important tasks in copywriting is to reduce buyer suspicion. The more difficulties you can address in the customer's mind, the lower their guard will be and the closer you will be to making the purchase. In content writing, you may not even address that level of doubt since it is irrelevant to the tale. These are two quite distinct types of writing. The first sells the goods, while the second sells the tale. Good content writers may find flaws in the competitors. They examine the items, test them, and make comparisons. One thing they check for is the competition's vulnerabilities, since those deficiencies assist the copywriter to come up with strengths when presenting their items. They know the audience is aware of such flaws and don't need to resort to name-calling to get their point through. Many new authors believe they will impress by being as perplexed as possible. Not at all. Appearing intellectual in your writing does not imply being original. Being simple in your writing does not imply being boring or implying a lack of intelligence. The less intricate your content writing, the better. The entire purpose of writing is to communicate. You'd rather not put your readers to the test. When you form, it indicates that a greater proportion of your readers will understand what you are saying. Certainly, this practice will not offend your increasingly educated or intellectual audience. Make your content writing flow. Always double-check your streams. Good content writing also entails laying out what you need to say in a logical order. Generally, the piece should flow from one point to the next. Try not to switch back and forth between ideas or bits of information. Cover each section of your tale completely and independently before moving on to the next piece. It denotes when you have an afterthought and want to cover it in a subsequent paragraph. Make use of brief paragraphs. The best approach to categorize your products is by subjects or ideas. One thought, one paragraph. In any event, if you have an overly long piece, it is better to trim it at an appropriate point. Make use of your paragraph breaks to provide a smooth transition from one point to the next. Chapter 2. Content Writing and Marketing. Writing contents. Before beginning any content writing assignment, it is critical to understand your goals. Your intended message should have clear objective, whether it is to educate, highlight advantages, or develop desire. You must first determine what action you want your audience to do as a result of interacting with your mate, Ryle, and then plan how to get them there. If you know what you want your audience to do when they get to their end destination, you can reverse engineer the processes necessary to get them there. Create your content path after defining a clear goal for your material. We've previously established that knowing your audience is essential for everything you do. Good research allows you to create a list or a series of actions that your readers must do to feel secure enough to take the action you are asking them to take. Why not start by looking for sites where your target audience's tribe congregates? Amazon, eBay forums, and communities are popular sites for people to express themselves. The greatest ones are sometimes discovered by conducting Google searches for your rivals' products. What do they enjoy, and what is it about the excise product that they prefer? What responses have they been most satisfied with or amazed by? Make a note of everything so you can refer to it later. These notes will serve as the foundation for your material. The more detailed you can be, the better, since the more exact the information you have to refer to, the easier it will be to generate relevant and compelling content pieces. The number of objections you must address will be decided by your study into your unique target. By taking down everything your target audience is saying online, whether positive or bad, you can create paragraphs that answer each issue one by one. What you need to do is offer them a glimpse of the end game, the emotional sensation or payout that purchasing your product will provide. Begin by looking for venues where your target audience's tribe congregates. Write down or build spreadsheet everything that is most discussed. Then construct a list of the items that stick out as most significant to your future clients. What do they enjoy? And what especially do they like? What emotions do people have as a result of purchasing it? What responses have they been most satisfied with or amazed by? Taking notes is essential since these questions and responses will serve as the foundation for your material. Credibility a qualification. So, why do so many internet businesses waste so much of their marketing cash attempting to attract individuals who aren't interested in what they have to offer? Many marketers believe that while advertising websites, especially on social media, they should broadcast as much material as possible to as many potentially interested individuals as possible in the expectation that a percentage of them would become purchasers at some time. This is plausible, but promoting material that is not perfectly customized to your intended demographic is quite expensive. Although we are frequently sold on the notion of targeted marketing, the definition of what this truly implies is not obvious. According to Marketing Sherpa.com, average conversion rates online range from 1 to 5. If this is the case, it demonstrates that just a tiny fraction of website visitors must be customers. Either that or buyers aren't finding enough of what they need on the site to convert to leads or customers. One reason for this is that most websites are not created by conversion experts and hence are not always organized to convert as effectively as they might. The main problem is that individuals don't perform enough research on their target audience before developing content. They also overlook or are unaware of the significance of preconditioning an audience before welcoming them on site. Content marketing is becoming increasingly competitive reference, and many marketers are seeking strategies to get an advantage. One of these objectives is to concentrate more on content marketing. We met with 10,000 content marketers to generate this data on current trends, as well as to obtain their perspectives and back-end data from their outcomes. What you did was, why did you do it? How did you do it? Make use of process photographs, even if it was a questionnaire. Isn't it simple? Now you're getting into the meat of the matter. Section of the body. Break out each significant point you mentioned in the bullet points above, one by one. As an example, in this BuzzSumo research, they reveal all data related to link dispersion before moving on to the next segment. It starts with one key issue and then breaks down into various data elements that relate together. This not only improves the flow, but also makes the facts more understandable to the reader. Each subhead should represent a significant data point of interest. What it is and why it is important. What you might do with that knowledge. Use visuals and graphs to provide context. Simply rinse and repeat until all of the important bullet points have been addressed. So too, cheat sheets and reports are useful in this situation. There are also printed versions with extra data that they may show to a manager. For example, Chapter 3, Writers' Careers. According to a 2007 research conducted by Robert Half, international content writing was one of the top 5 occupations. The number of skilled freelance and in-house content writers has also expanded. After 9/11, a lot of people started working from home to get back their independence and control over their time while still making money. Instead of spending the majority of their time at the office, many who chose to work from home found time to care for their elderly parents, take care of their children, and even go overseas. During this time, business owners and top executives couldn't hide how important it is to write good copy, so there was a huge demand for content writers. Although freelance writing was not new at the time, it reached a high point in terms of supply and demand. In an environment that is always changing, the only way to keep good writing skills is to keep learning and training. Today, content writers are chosen based on how good they are at writing. For example, people in the legal, financial, or healthcare fields are good candidates. Aside from that, another technique to pre-select the copywriter is based on the media they use: online, white papers, catalogs, and so on. Most of the time, it takes time and experience for a copywriter to become a generalist, which entails picking up a few writing projects here and there while working a day job. Chapter 4, SEO and Google ranking. This is still relevant. Improving for search engines in the previous several years, the talent of search engine optimization has altered and developed enormously. However, authors must grasp how SEO relates to content creation and how to arrange their material so that search engines can simply access and consume it. It used to be primarily about 1. The amount and quality of links pointing to your pages. 2. Site organization and navigation. 3. Content on, page optimization now. Search engine optimization is all about 1. The amount and relevancy of links to your pages. This is crucial. 2. Site organization and navigation. 3. Content optimization on the page. 4. Website bounce rate. 5. Visitor engagement and the number of pages viewed. 6. The number of authority connections made through social media or links. How many author, its sites or personal profiles lead to the website. Semantic search is number 7. This implies that Google and other search engines utilize many more indications to determine the relevance of a website page. They want to know if any authority figure or website believes the site is nice and how well it satisfies its users. This is determined by determining who is linked to the site and by analyzing visitor activity on the site using analytics. What can you do to improve the authority and search engine friendliness of your page? The longer your website is, in general, the better you are at providing stages, facts, charts, photos with correctly formed alt text descriptions, and visible titles, 1, 2, etc., tags, and the higher it is likely to rank. Your page should also include a meta and home title that include your primary keywords. Even though adding keywords to your title seems obvious, the words you use around your title and how they relate to your main title help Google's semantic algorithms figure out what the whole piece is about. Make it simple for search engines to realize that your post offers a wealth of relevant information. If the material keeps users on the site longer than other websites' pages and has a lot of confidence votes, for example, links, shares, and Google Leons, it is more likely to rank well. Your chances of ranking higher rise if your material is easy to read for search engine robots as well as people. So, when you add photos and see the opportunity to add alt text, make sure to include keywords that are related to both the image and the keywords in your titles. Google can see what many photographs are. So be honest when describing your images and you'll improve their searchability. Use the who, 2, 8, 3, and 4 tags. Surround the headline and bold content with other pertinent material that provides context. For example, let's imagine the subject of your essay was how to repair cells at home. Google only knows what sort of cell you're referring to based on the language on the page. Are you referring to human bodily cells? Are you referring to battery cells? Perhaps you're referring to cell phone cells. Semantic indexing of your content is the only method for search engines to understand what you're talking about. The system uses photos, subtitles, and surrounding text to identify the topic of the page. The interaction between various content pieces shows Google and other search engines how helpful the material may be to searchers. So, the more indications you can provide to the search engine robots who crawl your page, yes, they are robots and can't see the page as we can, the more likely it is that your page will rank somewhere good. Then, link back to it for material that is also highly relevant to your website. Make use of hashtags and descriptions that are relevant to your page. If you can get authorities to link to your page through any channel, whether it's linked, which is preferable, or social media, you'll be able to assist search engines to recognize your page as popular among the individuals who are most relevant or authoritative. Your optimization goal is met if your page is seen as popular, keeps people interested, and makes them happy in some way. SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization, is a set of tasks for improving the text on a website so that it ranks higher in search engine results. In today's communication landscape, simply being online is not enough. You must also be found. As a result, entrusting a copywriter with the content of his company website and maybe his social channels is a winning strategy for increasing exposure, especially when compared to relevant research. SEO and content writing are two strange things that come together in content writing. Even if you have a strong writing team, SEO is a very particular specialty that needs a solid foundation. Not everyone is aware of it, and even those who are aware of it may not necessarily know how to execute it correctly. When done correctly, SEO content writing services may do the following for your brand. Improve your search ranks by doing the following. A good SEO strategy will make your content more visible and help you claim more important spots in the SERPs. This is important because these ads get the most clicks and attention. Money saved. If you previously relied on sponsored advertising or paid placements, SEO content writing services might save you a lot of money. SEO content authoring is focused on clients with whom you want to interact and provide your content with a way to Natal. Rally categories them. Keep your content up. To date, search engines are getting a bigger share of the market, so it's a great idea to have a more prominent place in them. The easier it is for people to find your business, access your content, and have meaningful interactions with your brand, the more sales your firm will have. Assist you in remaining competitive. If you aren't ding on SEO while your competitors are, you will fall behind. Today, everyone is doing it, and you cannot afford to be the last. Proper site text may boost conversions, get more consumers, and even improve Google rankings. With this in mind, it is obvious that the issue is just too crucial to overlook. A good search that boosts the worth of your material brand administration content writing is an art form that is not limited to the ultimate sale of a product. In the business world, hiring a specialist in the field involves utilizing a resource in managing the brand image and the organization. The copywriter's job also includes identifying and communicating business values, as well as clarifying the public's perception of the organization and the brand connected with it. In this approach, written textual material helps consumers to comprehend and eventually share the company's belief system, resulting in stable partnerships between seller and customer. Empathy, a copywriter, is someone who has a wealth of knowledge and experience, as well as a noticeable sensitivity and good empathic abilities. Before becoming an expert in content marketing and writing tactics, the copywriter can comprehend the meeting place between the brand identity, the advantages of the product, and the demands that the target displays throughout the research phase of the brand, the product, and the customers that precede the development of the textual content. In this way, it's possible to combine all of this information into a text in which both the company and the public can see the ideas that drive its work. This creates a company that the public can trust, knowing that shopping there will be a good experience. The excellent copy becomes marketing fuel. A strong text may become a valuable marketing tool for a corporation, a startup, or a freelancer for personal branding. According to Steve Blank's views, while referring to a startup or innovative firm, it is critical to consider marketing, product development, and, as a result, content creation. We'd get tired of looking at each other if everyone looked the same. The greatest copies are those that stand out from the crowd. They don't remind us of old advertising from a few years ago the first time we read them, but they timely astound us with their originality. Returning to Apple, or more specifically, Steve Jobs and his Think Different campaign proved to be a more than winning weapon for his return to Cupertino, completely separating Apple from all of its competitors. SEO is a very important part of developing a website in the age of the semantic web. Creating content is now a key part of getting a website close to the top of search engine results. The most recent changes to the Google algorithm as well as significant changes in the local positioning of websites, have highlighted the strategic importance of creating quality content to meet the standards of over 200 factors and positioning of the search engine, including information texts that are original, well-structured, and, most importantly, useful to the end user. A clear, complete, and easily readable text that can be consulted by any reference public generates an important positioning phenomenon. Sharing, which results in organic link building, which consists of increasing the number of incoming links to increase the popularity of the site in question. If the user finds the published content useful, there are concrete options for sharing it through links on other websites, such as social networks, personal or corporate blogs, and other sites. When Google discovers these inbound links, the value of that page in the eyes of the crawler, the software that scans the network's contents, increases, contributing to the overall reputation of the website, its positioning, and, as a result, the number of potential new visitors. Writing copy for the web necessitates the same approach as writing copy for a brochure, a book, or any other paper support, and in some ways, even more complex pieces. Many details must be considered before writing web copy. Selecting the right keywords based on search traffic and competitiveness, analyzing competitors' positioning and strategies, studying the density and prominence of the keywords, calculating the relationship between text and HTML code of the entire site structure, monitoring the results, and making periodic changes in the event of algorithm updates or improvements in the because content written solely for search engines is difficulty to read for the user. The balance for SEO content writing is critical, without getting into the complicated and necessary details that make proper optimization work, which are hard for people who don't work in SEO to understand and explain. A text that was written using SEO principles to achieve a good outcome. Content creation involves the participation of specialists and varied abilities capable of understanding the best strategy to balance the demand for information customers are seeking for when browsing and the parameters required by the search engine. Above all, it's important to remember that Google's goal is to help people do good research on the internet. When a visitor puts keywords for your services into the Google search box, Google searches millions of referral websites to provide you with the results that are most relevant to your search. Google will crawl your site's pages to see if the content matches the search, and also see where your site might be recommended. For instance, if your site is less relevant than another, it may rank second, fifth, and so on. Google's algorithm looks at many things, such as H tags, alt tags, keywords, relevance, site quality, incoming and outgoing links, and more. As a result, you must be familiar with the writing of the text you present, making writing work extremely important. When a visitor clicks on your website link, how long does it take them to determine whether or not your site is relevant to their search? In a nutshell, you know it because we are all alike on the internet. Indeed, we don't need much time to decide whether or not this site is right for us. We begin by inspecting the menu, links, hands, titles and subtitles, images, calls to action, and so on. It is therefore critical to optimize your site's first page, the home page, to keep visitors on your site. The task, however, does not end there. Assume the visitor is interested in your articles because the site enticed him at first glance. You must maximize your web writing so that the visitor is completely fascinated by your articles and reads. A website must be properly created to keep the visitor looking so that you may also engage him in other things on your website. Chapter 5. How to write social media content. Social networking is entertaining. In my opinion, anyway. If you're careful, you may be a touch cheeky and get away with more comedy or tongue. In cheek comments, many people share odd things on social media with no rhyme or reason. It is critical to post with purpose. Even if you're not trying to sell something in a post, and you shouldn't try to sell more than 30s of what you post every day, you can still make comments that relate to the reader's interests. You can write a series of informative pieces that explain something or solve common problems. For Pinterest and Google postings, use keywords and good-length descriptions of 200 to 300 words, since they can be indexed by search engines. Be generous without being condescending. Give credit to others when you can, especially to sites and companies with a good reputation. But make sure it is appropriate and relevant. Make folks consider, wow, that was new to me whenever you are able. People enjoy having new experiences and being moved in some manner. Give them something to get them to think outside of their habits. That is why breathtaking photographs and videos go viral. People enjoy being amazed. Demonstrate, assist, and instruct. Display other individuals doing what they want in their way. And of course, respond to inquiries. Allow your audience to get to know you by answering questions online and assisting them in every way you can on social media. Some guidelines are provided below, courtesy of HTTP Bumblebee Social Media. Company Z. Checklist for Pinterest purpose. Make your own and, preferably, customer images go viral by employing keyword-rich captions and searchable hashtags. Pinterest has a lot of viral potentials, particularly when combined with larger Pinterest boards. Policy high-quality images and videos with keyword content based on popular or trending themes. Make use of your hashtags. Procedure to find hot subjects. Use Google Analytics to convert keyword terms. Another helpful source of keywords is Google Trends. Select high-quality images that include fun-sawed, your curiosity fascination images. High-quality photographs and videos include hashtags. If you're uploading a picture from your computer, including the URL, comment on other people's posts. Use sentences that include terms such as how to why people you might be able to if you're looking for ways to tops reasons why. It's things to consider. The crucial thing to remember is to leave comments on other similar board pins, particularly on larger sites with 1,000 or more followers. Don't forget to include the most important parts for your audience and the topic at hand while still being helpful and knowledgeable. Facebook to-do list purpose, increasing social reach and attracting new likes followers from other sources. Utilize Facebook to discover existing and new clients to share experiences with by utilizing media to provide a multi-dimensional view of what you provide. Policy use popular hashtags to create interactive content that engages new clients through multimedia. Procedure: investigate hot trending travel-related hashtag themes. Identify other websites that use them and contribute to, and comment on their pages. Provide material to large sites that are looking for high-quality photographs and text to upload. Comment on their content. Look for themes that your clients are interested in and generate content that connects your site to theirs. Contribute good remarks to these pages while connecting with prospective client audiences. Include tags in the material on your websites, other sites, and external Facebook pages for your travel specialty. These should be utilized extensively on larger Facebook sites you've liked in the past. Consider including Facebook or blog comments on your blog. Images. High-quality photos and videos include hashtags. Where applicable, include a URL. Comment on other people's posts. Contribute useful, relevant stuff to other people's pages. Use sentences that include terms such as how to why people you might be able to if you're looking for ways to tops reasons. Why it's things to consider, important things to keep in mind. A checklist for LinkedIn purpose to establish a prominent presence on LinkedIn. Stay procedure. Follow trending topics and influential people in the field in which you are writing. Engage with both the content and the people. Images. High-quality photos and videos. Create and participate in debates that are relevant to your target audience. Where applicable, include a URL. Comment on other people's posts, discussions, and contribute good thoughts and comments. Endorse and invite other members. Use sentences that include terms such as how to why people you might be able to if you're looking for ways to top reasons to tops reasons. Why it's things to consider, important things to keep in mind. Make sure that every social media post you make has the most important information for your audience and the topic. Also, try to be helpful and knowledgeable. When adopting your Google approach, keep the following two elements in mind. First, employ keyword and intent-based phrase combinations in your titles, and second, employ precise content formatting in your post-ins. When connecting to a page, use enough words to make the post extremely relevant to the page to which you are linking. If you're not referring to a website and instead making an image post, make sure the description is long enough to be found in Google and general search engines. Checklist for Google+. When adopting any Google+ approach, you must go through 4 steps. 1. Research and layout of keywords and target pages. 2. Obtain important followers. 3. Participating in communities and leaving comments on posts. Relationship building. 4. Posting sequence and formatting for Google. Search so that your audience may easily locate your post pages. Make certain that your Google posts are highly targeted to the appropriate audience. Use key words from your major website page titles, are interesting and pique the reader's interest. Speak about the consumer and what they want, then include the features and benefits of your products and services into your post text. Include the appropriate mix and amount of or hashtags, 4 to 5 maximum per post. Include the appropriate amount of keywords, 300 words. Fewer is better. URL to the page. I want to teach Google since it is relevant to my audience. To improve my overall website authority and relevance. Motivate readers to take a desired action or learn more by including text that piques their interest and creates the trust. For example, ask them to do something other than buy, such as read more about, insert something they are interested in the form of a feature or benefit. Both Google and visitors will see you as an authority in your area. Assists Google in serving your content as frequently as feasible. Visitors are directed to a landing page that delivers on the promises made in your content. This is the first stage in your sales funnel. And yes, your off-site content is a part of it. Using templates significantly decreases the time required to publish amazing articles that both Google and your audience will appreciate. Policy when adopting any Google plan. There are specific measures you must take. Research and layout of keywords and target pages, getting relevant followers, participating in communities, and leaving comments on postings. Relationship building, posting order and formatting for Google search, as well as making it easier for your audience to discover your post, Keyword terms in your titles and employing particular and correct post content layout. Using wording that is copy-rich yet sounds natural and non-sales procedure. Maintain uniformity among postings so that they are extremely focused on the intended audience, are interesting and stimulate inquiry. Include up to 7 hashtags. Use descriptions. At least 3 descriptive paragraphs. Use title to notify Google that the title should be bolded and that it is the post title, and builds trust to persuade them to perform a desired action or learn more. Both Google and visitors will see you as an authority in your area. Help Google will offer up your material as frequently as feasible if it is highly related to popular search terms. Using templates significantly decreases the time required to generate amazing content that both Google and your audience will appreciate. If your content is very relevant to popular search terms, Google will show it as often as possible. Relate their requirements and wants to what you have to offer. Provide value to prospects and guide them to a desired action. And sure, your off-site material does form part of your sales flow, Add any hashtags that you want to use. Use up to 5 hash tags, including ones that pertain to the primary generic issue as well as some that interlink, meaning they appear on many closely connected articles you've published. Make sure your hashtags are very related to the topic of the post. This increases your trustworthiness and ensures that any hashtags clicked will bring up content that is sole of interest to readers and will not turn them off. Make a plan for your postings. 1 in every 4 to 5 postings should be about a product or service that you advertise. The rest of the text should be intriguing, useful, or enlightening to readers. Provide them with something of value in each article, such as a post that teaches them anything, no matter how minor. Non-product and service promotion blogs should educate the reader so that when you do promote posts about your goods, you don't have to attempt to cram all of the features and benefits into a commercial-looking piece. Write 5 posts building up to the sales post on the advantages of linseed oil for shoe leather, how to pick the proper color polish for your shoes, the basis of shoe polish, and some amusing statistics like how many shoes the typical puppy eats before becoming an adult dog. Entertain your audience while teaching them that you are the expert and that your product or service has a long thought-out procedure or history behind it. Consider this while you write your descriptions and utilize our who, what, why, where, when, and how worksheets to help you come up with some interesting post ideas. Here are the ground guidelines for publishing on Google. Make use of suitable hashtags. Except for gallery images, descriptions must be a certain number of words long. You may utilize website content as a starting point for descriptions, but replace certain words to make them distinctive. Post in public places 3-5 times a day, and once a week to a large community. Once a week, choose a popular post from a community page and share it with another community and/or your page. Choose posts that have received a lot of attention. Comment on 1 to 2 posts on other people's profiles and communities every day. Join groups and follow Google pages related to your page. Chapter 6. Experts' general tips and tricks in mistakes to avoid and best practices. So, what else did you consider while deciding on a niche? We'll also advise you to consider your skill and experience. Once your expertise and experience are important, since they give a degree of authenticity and uniqueness to everything you accomplish. People can sense whether your blog is coming from a place of true background and experience, so one way to think about this is what you know and what you have done. Begin by looking at people whose areas of interest correspond to what you've been investigating, examined, what you've been doing, and what you've done in the past. What exactly have you accomplished? What have you been doing over the last 5 years, 10 years, or even 20 years of your life? Where can you find inspiration? That way, you may contribute from such locations and provide your audience with your important information and experience. Gary Vaynerchuk is an excellent example. He talks from a position of knowledge and experience. He relates anecdotes about how he grew up going to yard sales and garage sales, purchasing items, and then flipping them to make money. Today, he's still doing it and teaching others how to do it because he's enthusiastic about it. He has the expertise as a result of his years of experience doing it, and then teaching others how to do it in order to generate money and be better business people. So, it's a pretty amazing illustration of how he's mixing all those various elements in his specialized specialty. So Gary V appears to know business. He understands sales. He understands entrepreneurship since that is what he has done. He has, after all, done a lot of reselling in the past. He owns and operates a single store, has flogged and rented media accounts, and gives keynote speeches. So these are all aspects of being a business owner or entrepreneur. So it makes sense in terms of how he communicates what he posts about, and that gives a tremendous common ground for his audience. Therefore, I have a question for you. What areas of competence and experience do you have? What are your interests and values? And secondly, what do you have a background in? You're going to utilize a few strange tactics to make the information appear simpler to read. That way, you can link them up without losing them. Tighten the principle. Let's begin with a wild edit. When your readers first glance at your post, they're unconsciously thinking, "You show much work as this to read. Can I annoy you? Does this apply to me? What's the point of me?" What's the point? Because if it appears to be too difficult, they will not begin. In reality, you have 3 to 5 seconds to get their attention before they go. True, they may think your work is good enough to keep and share, but they don't do what you want them to do. Worst case scenario, you lose them completely as they bounce away. So, what are your options? Simple. You make it appear easy to read. So here's a wild idea. The width of a page influences how difficult we believe the material is to read. Too broad, and our eyes have to work hard to scan back and forth. So what are your options? Simple, you may adjust the width of the introduction by positioning the header picture to the side. This creates the appearance that the material is simpler to read. I know it's strange, but believe me on this. It shortens the first few sentences to a few of words, and they begin reading. It's brief. Therefore, it has to be simple to read, right? And since the introduction is strong, so they continue to read. But we must get them started or risk losing them. That's why we never use a large header image above the text. Why? Because most displays only see the picture when you do this. The text below the fold is not displayed. I don't know about you, but I find it difficult to convince people to start reading if they can't even see the text on the page. Your objective is to get them to read the information. So never conceal your introduction below the fold in this way. It creates too much pressure on the image to have to draw them in. Allow the words to do their work. So, now that you have them reading, you must keep them there. Simplify. Here's the deal. People believe that material should be complicated. Huge pages of complex language to demonstrate our intelligence. But what about the reality? The simpler it is, the more effective it will be. Is this a joke? The best performing sales pages in history were prepared for a grade 5 reading level. Why is this the case? Because the easier it is to grasp, the more people will relate to it. Not just that, but what if it gets more complicated? The more people have to pause and consider what a term means. The simpler it is to lose their focus, the more likely they will abandon your material. So what are your options? It's simple. You strive to say it with less in your material. Consider how you can make this more understandable. How can you make each statement simpler or shorter? That's all there is to it. But are you serious? It will make a huge impact in how people perceive your content and how many convert as a result of it. Remember that the true expert is the one who can explain it clearly. And what's terrific about doing this? It'll also aid you with the following edit. Allow it to breathe. This is another matter of perception. You want the information to appear to be simple to read. So, what are your options? You assist it in breathing. Simply, large phrases should be broken up and make more use of white space. Take a look at this book. A book is basically a block of text, but notice how simple it is to read. See how much space there is around the text? It makes it easy to concentrate on the information. Another method to separate it all is to provide context for concepts. Include context. This is a very basic edit. When do you describe something complicated? Simply upload photos to assist illustrate your point. Do you want to cite a source, then include a picture? Do you have a wall of text? Break it up with a picture. It's very simple to accomplish and has so many advantages. The information gets more readable. Displaying visuals assists individuals in understanding and remembering two of the viral triggers. Including visuals of sources increases confidence and authority. 2 more viral triggers. Isn't it simple? And since the archetypes we've showed, you have those step-by-step answers baked in. That is, you are already contributing value and pictures. Huzzah! Let's add another authority builder while we're on the subject of photos. Discover your aesthetic. Is there a significant difference between a low-quality blog and a professional one? It has to do with appearance, or lack of it. There are a few basic things you may do to stand out. For each article, use the same color scheme. Text, comments, and arrows may be added to photos. Same color also. Add a border to pictures. If you use unique photos, ensure they are designed by the same person throughout the piece. Check out this page by Client Boost, for example. The colors are the same, the layout is the same, and the typeface is the same. It's simply a few minor details, but they help the material stand out as an authority in the field. Don't be concerned if you cannot afford a bespoke designer. Simply using the same colors and style can help you stand out and create an aesthetic. Common blunders to avoid: none of us are perfect. According to the well-known axiom, monkeys can fall out of trees in some conditions. Furthermore, even a seasoned copywriter might make a mistake now and again. Here are a few blunders that every copywriter has made at some point. 1. Ignoring your audience. When you write content, you are writing for someone else. That person might be your consumer. In any case, the audience is the person you need to act on based on what they have read. It is pointless to write for a certain consumer if the audience does not respond to what you have written. Ideally, you have a customer that understands the demographic he is attempting to attract. 2. Not knowing your item. It emerges when you are attempting to elaborate on some thing you are unfamiliar with. 2. Nothing is worse than learning about an item only to discover that the creator had no idea what they were talking about. Few jobs out of every odd composition can be in your most scholarly topic field. However, you should make an attempt to learn something about the topic you're discussing. 3. Excessive or insufficient detail. It is difficult to deter. Mind how much depth to go into. You must provide the audience with enough information to pique their interest, but not so much that they feel overwhelmed. 4. You compose much too much. People nowadays don't have a lot of time to read. Therefore, if you don't attract their attention with your message quickly, you will miss out on your opportunity. You must guarantee that your initial words are, and then the reader will remain to pretend what you need to say to them. 5. You don't make it easy for others to do what you want them to do. When you want someone to buy anything from you, you should make it simple for them to find out how much it costs and how to receive it. If you need someone to buy into your booklet, you bring an easy way to buy in, preferably more than one way. If you truly need someone to do something, make it as simple as possible for them to do it. 6. Exhausting characteristics known as the father of advertising, David Ogilvy sums up the significance of the simple characteristic best. If your piece fails to pique the reader's interest, the opportunity for a transaction is likely gone. A feature should be catchy, enticing, and hard, hitting in order to pique the reader's interest right away. 7. Highlights without a competitive advantage. A feature informs the consumer about the item's capability, but a benefit explains why they require it. Great content writers provide the highlights before using them to persuade a prospective buyer of the item's use. A buyer will overlook anything that does not directly benefit them. 8. Using the same meta title for each web page, a detailed, informative material is important, but it also has to be noticed, which is where website optimization (SEO) comes in. A meta title reveals the name of a web page and is read by online search tool robots and website visitors. To appear higher in the rankings, they must talk to the prior first and last second. When the same meta title is used for each page, your site will not be properly updated. This may include its search rankings and its ability to inform potential clients about your company's products and services. 9. Saying too much. Or on the other side, saying almost little. A copywriter must understand both the reader and the product. Some copy may contain many pages of material. Others, on the other hand, may just need a single tweet to get their argument out and get the desired results. The important thing to remember is to be compact. Word economy is essential. Once in a while, a 3,000-word piece may be reduced to 2,500 or 2,000 words. Strictness prevents extraneous information from mucking up your copy. 10. Ignoring the invitation to act when you have a snare. Your reader or potential customer needs a subtle shove in the right direction. Approach them and ask them to accept a bulletin, like your Facebook page, or follow you on Twitter. If you request a specific behavior, the reader will usually comply. The best practices complete all research when it comes to being a copywriter. One of the first things you will need to focus on is conducting all of the essential research. How will you be able to offer a product to your consumers if you don't know everything about the product or the audience who wants to buy it? The first thing you should do is research the product. You should be able to obtain a lot of information about the client's product or service from them, such as how it is created, how much it costs, and so on. Furthermore, it is advisable to devote some time to testing the goods. See if the customer will provide you a prototype of the product so you can test it and figure out how to market it to others. There are two sorts of research that you may conduct to get information about the audience that you want to target: primary and secondary. Primary research is vital because it allows you to spend time talking to consumers or individuals who meet the demographics of the clients you want to sell to, and you can learn a lot from them, because these are the individuals you want to market to in the first place. You may question them about their spending and selling habits, as well as what might entice them to buy a product. This is frequently regarded as one of the greatest ways to obtain information, although it does take more time. Thus, the amount of information obtained may be limited. This is why secondary research might be beneficial. This enables you to look through research, documents, and other materials to get knowledge. Someone else has gathered the information, and while it may not be exactly on the target demographic that you desire, it may still supply you with some important information while taking up less time. When working with content writing, it is generally ideal to combine the two sorts of research. You should spend as much time as possible gathering primary research from surveys, polls, and interviews before diving into secondary research. You will then be able to use these, as well as your own personal experience with the product, to create some of the greatest copy conceivable. Research is not something that many people like doing. Content writers are frequently authors who simply want to sit down and let the words flow. However, while you may be able to generate some spectacular copy as a result of this, it is not always the proper copy for the audience in mind. This study will guarantee that you not only locate the correct audience for a certain product or service, but that you also understand the best technique to market to this audience in order to encourage them to buy the product. Interview the authorities. Are you just starting out as a copywriter and want to learn more about how the process works? How to get suitable customers, how to price yourself for different tasks, and so on. One of the greatest methods to find answers to these issues is to consult with some of the professionals. Whatever area you choose, you will find that there are some professionals that can assist you. These are folks that have been in the industry for a while, people who have previously done the task and can provide you advice along the road. If you locate an expert who is ready to assist you, make use of them as much as possible without being bothersome or in the way. Someone who has already worked in content writing is the greatest type of specialist to work with. This person should have prior expertise with this type of job. Although they can work in nearly any industry other than content writing, such as social media, agency experience, freelancing, and so on. They will be able to advise you on where to begin looking for clients, check through your portfolio, and tell you what will work and what will not, and much more. It might be difficult to locate a specialist in the field of content writing. This does not imply that you are without assistance. As a copywriter, you may discover that you perform a lot of freelance work. So why not enlist the assistance of someone who has worked in the freelancing industry? There are many professionals in this business that work in writing, computer work, graphic design, and other fields who can readily provide you with some of the assistance you want. It may not be specifically relevant to the content writing field, but many freelancers have similar challenges in terms of getting customers and keeping track of their income, and you will be able to find a lot of the information that you require along the road. If you are unable to locate someone to serve as your mentor during this process, consider sitting down with them once and asking some questions, like you would in an interview. Most experts are flattered to be asked to speak with you about their work, and they will sit down and talk for a short period. Prepare some questions and consider recording them in case you need them later. Finding a qualified expert is one of the greatest ways to guarantee you get the finest guidance on how to get started. Make sure you are respectful of their time and do not bother them excessively, but asking a few questions and seeking advice on occasion is a great way to learn something new and to distinguish yourself when looking for work in the content writing field. Have your own individual voice. Having your distinctive voice is one of the finest methods to stand out when working on article writing. This is evident in the method in which you write things down, which is similar to the voice and mannerisms with which you converse with friends and family. Some of the finest content writers can allow this show through without detracting from the primary idea of the copy, which helps to add personality to their writing and what they are selling. There are several strategies to allow your unique portico, your voice to shine through when writing. You can opt to utilize specific words or phrases depending on what you would regularly say to people. You can change the punctuation or grammatical rules. This may appear more difficult than it is, but when you write, there is generally a specific tone that comes through that is called your voice. You just need to understand how to leverage this to your advantage to make it more pleasurable for people to read your work. Of course, you must exercise caution not to overdo it. You shouldn't use this as an excuse to use poor language, add unnecessary adjectives at the end of every sentence, like adorable or something similar, or have your voice take over the copy and distract from the goods or service you're trying to promote. Your voice may make or break the text you're attempting to sell, so be cautious and utilize it as a tool, and you'll notice a major difference. Overall, having your distinctive voice show through in your writing is one of the ways you will be able to distinguish your work from that of others. Nobody else can write as you do, so let your voice shine and discover how to wow your clients. Keep the copy straightforward. Yes, you are attempting to offer a product to the consumer during this process, but the copy must remain straightforward. You don't want to add too many words or produce material that is difficult to grasp or loses sense when the consumer tries to read your work. Your work must be clear and uncomplicated for the consumer to perceive the benefits and make an informed decision in your favor. Consider working on a billboard. Your clients will notice the billboard, but they will only have approximately 7 seconds at most to read what is written on it. This implies that you can only write a few meaningful words on it, and everything else will be gone. While a large paragraph or more of information may appear valuable, the client will be unable to read it while driving. You must use basic and brief wording, possibly only a few words or a short sentence, so that customers grasp your product and desire to learn more or make a buy. When dealing with other types of content writing, you will normally have greater leeway to produce more words than with the billboard. These additional forms are typically looked at for longer lengths of time by the consumer, allowing you to type down more information. However, you must use caution before writing anything on them. Adding unnecessary words or leaving out crucial concepts will make it difficult for the reader to comprehend the information you desire. So, a good place to start is by writing down anything that comes to mind. At this point, don't worry about how it sounds or if it all flows together. Just sit down and write. When you're finished, move away from the task for at least an hour, preferably overnight. Return the next day and circle or highlight the items you wish to keep and cross out the items that aren't going to work. By now, you should have a good idea of what material you want to employ in your content writing. If the thoughts appear to be fractured, you will be able to put them together. You will eventually get the copy speaking and looking the way you want it to. Now is the time to go over and strike out any words that are unnecessary or taking up additional space. Go through and see which terms you can get rid of without changing anything, and then get rid of them all. With one single step, you may significantly reduce your word use and space while still providing the information to the client. Clear and simple writing is one of the finest things you can do to guarantee that your consumers grasp the message and feel like they will benefit from the product or service you are attempting to offer. Try some of these ideas for creating clear and succinct text and see how they help. Be consistent. Starting as a novice might be challenging. You want to be able to obtain that first customer and start generating money. Whether you're doing it part-time or full-time, but getting clients at all, much alone enough to help you generate money, may be difficult. Most clients want a worker with extensive experience, and the best ones are already working with someone they know and trust. This might make it difficult for a newcomer to get their foot in the door. Furthermore, it might be difficult to get started and remain going. If you encounter problems with a terrible customer along the road, spending all of your hard-earned time on a project only to have extra work added to it, or the customer vanish without payment may be aggravating. But in general, you must persevere and learn from your difficulties with the customer to succeed. To be successful, all content authors had to work hard. They all had a terrible customer or two that made them reconsider if this is the proper career path for them, and they all struggled to obtain their first few clients. The difference between successful and poor content writers is that they never give up. They kept hunting for excel, lent clientele, improving their talents, and never gave up trying to make it work. As a rookie copywriter, many things might get in your way and make it difficult to keep up with all of the work. However, you must be persistent. Continue seeking new clients and new methods to enhance your abilities and expertise, even if this involves taking some classes to learn something new, and continue to establish connections so that you may discover the appropriate clients and the right sort of job that makes you happy. There will be moments when you feel depressed about your work or that you will never be able to find the core solutions to get things done. But with the correct attitude and the belief that you should never give up, you will find that you can bring in those initial clients, make some nice money, and genuinely like the work that you do in your life. Determine your niche. When you go into content writing, you will be able to perform a variety of things. You can opt to work on ebooks that go along with a certain product you're selling. This is popular with kitchen equipment and tools. You can opt to work in social media and bring your organization into the contemporary era with some of the direful messaging and posting that you can accomplish. You can specialize in print ads such as magazines, boards, blogging, newspapers, and others. Some individuals choose to concentrate on possibilities like television and radio copy, which serve to bring the message home freshly. Choosing one or two of these specializations will help you advertise yourself to a variety of clientele. You should include some of these products from your specialization in your portfolio so that you can show the customer what you can achieve. Choosing a specialty will allow you to specialize, focus on what is essential to you, and ensure you can attract some of the top clientele. That being said, you may discover that being a full-service alternative is appealing to many of your potential clients. They may not want to hire someone for each of the duties that they require, preferring to engage a single individual or agency that can handle it all. If this is the path you intend to take, make sure it is reflected in your portfolio. Rather than just placing some random firms in your portfolio to display everything, focus on a whole campaign and show the client how you manage things from beginning to end. This will allow them to assess if your style is good for them. Look for high-quality customers. Most people enter the content writing industry to make money, not to undertake volunteer work in their leisure time. As a freelance copywriter, you must exercise caution when selecting customers to ensure that you locate those that will work well with you and pay you when everything is completed. There are many wonderful customers out there. They will respond to your queries quickly, pay you milestones, and fall in love with the ideas you propose to them. They pay you on time and make it simple to enjoy your work. Unfortunately, although there are many fantastic clients with whom you will be able to work, there are also many horrible clients who will make you want to tear out your hair and stop generating material right immediately. These are the clients who constantly postpone, are difficult to reach, will fail to pay you, and just leave after the task is completed. As a beginning, you will encounter more of these clients than you would want to acknowledge. There will always be unscrupulous clients who will look at you and believe they can take advantage of you. However, there are a few things you can take to avoid unpleasant clients, such as the price is too expensive. If you are looking at a job offering and see that the fee is extremely high for the task, far greater than what is regarded standard for the work that is being sought, you should avoid it. These clients are mainly merely looking for inexperienced workers. The problem is that they will promise all of this money but will not sign a contract and will frequently accept work without ever giving payment. Always be cautious if the rate does not appear to be following industry norms. The pricing is too low. The majority of clients will specify how much they are ready to pay for the task. If the price is really low, it is most likely not worth your attention. The customer will demand high-quality work at a price well below market value, and you will most likely squander your time. Make a point of charging a fee that you are comfortable with and sticking to it. Will not prepare a contract ahead of time. It is always a good idea to begin working with a new customer by drafting a contract. This is a fantastic strategy to save. Guard both you and the customer. This contract will detail everything that will occur while you are working together, including the work to be done, the cost, and the time frames. If a customer refuses to sign the agreement, something is likely incorrect, and you must exercise caution. Clues in the posting. Sometimes you may notice that the customer is having problems with their posting. If the phrasing keeps changing, there are grammar difficulties, or something else feels wrong about the posting, proceed with caution and hunt for another customer to work with. The workload shifts. As you go through the job advertisement, you will hunt for information regarding the workload and then fill out your application. However, you may spend time chatting with a customer who may try to modify the scope of the task or tack on a lot more while still wanting to pay the same fee. These clients are frequently tough to work with since they continuously modify the scope or add more work without comping. Sating you. Set the terms straight right away and focus solely on the agreed-upon task. The client is difficult to reach. If you're having problems getting your client to respond to emails or phone calls and the work hasn't even been awarded, you should be concerned. Times are hectic. But if your customer goes days without speaking to you and then reappears, you are dealing with a tough client. Allow them some time to answer, but if it appears to be taking too long, it may be preferable to find another person to work with. Learning to recognize a poor customer is one of the most beneficial things you can do for your profession. Many clients are fantastic, pay well, and are a pleasure to work with, and you will come across many of these through your trip. However, you will discover that one lousy customer may wreck everything for you. So, if you apply for a new job, check for some of these indicators to deter. Mind which customers are the greatest fit for you. Learn how to work with various media when it comes to content authoring. There are several mediums kinds to choose from. These enable the client to contact as many of their clients as possible, based on their location or the channels they choose. For example, if you want to target a population of teens, you are more likely to contact them through television, social media, and blogs than an older generation who is more likely to read newspapers and magazines. Understanding your demographics is critical if you want to contact them effectively. There are many options, and unless your client has an unlimited budget, they won't want to pay for all of them. Even if the customer has a lot of money to spend, they will want to spend it wisely and just on the mediums they require. So, first and foremost, you must establish which channels will effectively communicate with your target audience. As we've already talked about, you can do this by doing the research you need. It is time to start to work after you know your demographics and have a decent concept of the mediums you want to work with. Let's look at some of the many mediums you may use and how you might write differently for each one. Television copy is a powerful tool for selling a product, and it may be used by both local and national businesses. You'll need to convey a tale with this one as well, but because you're utilizing photos, you'll have an advantage over the other selections. You still need to make it stand out from other advertisements and show off the benefits of your product, but this one is sometimes easier. Radio. When it comes to writing radio material, you must convey a story. You will not be able to assist the consumer with photographs or images. As a result, you must use highly descriptive language to tell a story and make the listener feel something. It may take some practice, but be careful not to use sound effects that will frighten the driver or something like sirens that will irritate them while driving. Billboards will be brief and to the point. Spend no more than one line on these. You must remember that when people see a billboard, they will only have 7 seconds or less to read it. They will not have time to read a book. Find a catchy slogan or a short sentence that will get them interested in your product and make them want to check it out. Blogs. It is sometimes a good idea to work on blog articles to ensure that you are reaching your customers. Many clients decide to start a blog, usually attached to their website, to use SEO and attract customers before sending them to a product link. You can write about a variety of topics related to the product to attract customers, but you must be careful not to sound too sales in the process. Websites. Your customer may occasionally request that you work on their website. This is the first line of assault for many businesses because they have a large number of clients who will check out this area before purchasing the goods. You may be in charge of updating the site's news, creating a homepage, an About Me page, and other pages dependent on what the consumer requires. If you are dealing with teens and young adults as your target audience, social media is a terrific place to start. This allows you to reach out to the public by using a variety of images, screenshots, and other media. There are a lot of social media options, so it can take some time to figure out which ones are best for your target audience. Keep the messages brief and straightforward. Highlight the new perks or goods for the client, and respond to any queries your consumers may have to see results. Printing may be a lot of fun because there are so many different sizes and options. Sometimes you'll have to write something in a little space and be quite brief, and other times you'll have a little more room. The quality of magazine and newspaper print advertisements will also change. In any case, keep things basic with a few phrases and a beautiful, high-quality image that shows the viewer what you're all about. With all of the numerous mediums accessible, there is a lot of diversity that can make working in content writing a lot of fun. Learn how to use each of these platforms and what makes them effective, and you'll be well on your way to selling your products or services. Chapter 7. How to obtain it. Writing content, God talks about how to develop your audience and create subscribers. Therefore, here are a few ways we'll go over how to share your blog. One example is social media sharing. Finally, creating an email is a simple victory, and I'll show you how to create a system for producing new subscribers. This needs a bit more time and effort, but it is generally worthwhile. And there's no shame in asking your friends and family to share your blog entries if it connects with them and they believe it will resonate with their friends, especially if you're just getting started. I do this by giving out the URL and then taking a small piece that I find interesting. This is something I do regularly. This is a new blog post, and it only offers them a brief overview of what the post is about. Repeat the process on Twitter. Build your blog audience because when you share in these different locations, individuals in these areas will follow you or reshape, post, or retweet, and this will help you grow your audience organically. That may appear to be a lot of effort, but once you have a system in place and do it every time you post, it is a wonderful method to expand organically without spending any money. I reposted the complete post for my blog on Medium.com. Snippet. All caps new post, and I'll post it there, followed by a T on Medium. So I reposted the same thing, same clip, same all caps new post on my Facebook fan page. This is now something I do on my Facebook fan page. It shares the center of the blog article, then a divider, and finally the words new post in all uppercase. When I publish a new blog article, the first thing I do is share it on my personal Facebook profile. Let me demonstrate how I typically publish my blog pieces on social media. So even if you wrote your blog in your email, there's no reason why you shouldn't republish it on Medium and then urge your friends and family to share it. A medium can also be distributed. You may also share from your Facebook fan page. You can do this by, among other places, sharing on your profiles, personal Facebook page, and Twitter profile. Let's start with how to share on social media. You may also guest post and contribute to publications. So I'll show you how I sold myself and my articles to major magazines like Huffington Post. I'll show you exactly how I publish on my social media profiles and use them to develop my blog. This is a simple decision. Chapter 8. Content Writing Plan. Your blog might be beginning from scratch. Perhaps you already have the material. In any case, I recommend that you take the following route. Step 1. Create your sales pre-frame sequence. Begin by developing your sales sequence. For the time being, disregard traffic. Why? Because by starting here, you will now be able to sell your material to a tiny audience. Next, you work your way up the funnel from the bottom to the top. Step 2. Generate sales support content that's right. We begin from the bottom. Why? There are a few bits of material that will assist you in selling. They give facts, build confidence, and help to alleviate any lingering questions or concerns. What's the point? Because by developing this content, you will now be able to generate even more revenue from the same low traffic. You're simply making your content sell for you and then improving its performance. Does that make sense? You only proceed farther up the funnel when you've increased your conversions. Step 3. Advance a level. You're establishing authority and competence at this phase in your sales process. Your customer knows they have a problem and is looking for ways to solve it and someone they can trust to help them. As a result, you increase their faith in you. What kind of material works well here? Branded solutions and niche, how? To guides, I mean niche how-to tutorials that cover later queries your audience may have. Instead of what is a Facebook ad, it might be a detailed tutorial about designing ads or gaining more hits. Helpful stuff, but they won't look for it until they're along in their path. This material then adds value and credibility, allowing you to stand out even more from your competition. Even better, your audience will begin to regard you and your service as the optimal answer, attracting more people to it. Step 4. The funnel center. Now that you have the information to support your sales sequence in place, it is time to add content that will attract and benefit your audience. How? To Manual's Ultimate References research based on data posts on the ego gathering list again. We'll go over all of this shortly. Some of them are related to the content of your traffic system, while others are intended to assist address inquiries and developing trust, among other things. I propose these last since they are the most important. Why? They often take longer to build or longer to receive a return on investment. The information lower down, on the other hand, will help convert even a tiny audience. What's better? This implies that when you grow and attract more people, all of your new traffic will be significantly more effective. Does all of it make sense? If you stick to that method, you'll notice an increase in conversions and sales initially, followed by growth. Because that's how we make stuff, right? To assist in attracting and selling. So you just prioritize what moves the needle the most and then go from there. What do you have to do now? Simply plan your subjects before implementing them. When it comes to planning, there is one additional item to consider. Chapter 9. How to generate ideas. The most critical aspect will be posting material. Once you've established how frequently you'll write each week, it's time to organize your content. Here is when keywords and titles come into play. When you're ready to redo your content calendar, the following step is syndication. You'll need to look at your content calendar again and decide which days you'll post on these syndication networks. After all, you're just sending something you've already assembled. Perhaps you might consider publishing on other platforms on your off days, where you won't have to put in as much effort. This works nicely if you only plan to post 3 times each week on your main platform. Podcasts work well for many firms, so you may generate a lot more material from the initial work you put in on just one of your key pieces of content. If you don't want to appear in front of the camera, you may upload the audio to YouTube, add some slides, and have that be the complete movie. Of course, it must be chopped up and distributed across several platforms. So, if you're creating the material, you could have someone record it and convert it into a podcast, or you could read it through and put it into a podcast yourself. Videos, for example, may be shared on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms. Then, we can make a pulse post on LinkedIn, and sometimes we can post the image and link on Facebook. This is just one example of how you may take a single piece of information and divide it into smaller bits to distribute across several platforms. Syndication makes it easy to employ single content types across several platforms. You know what your main medium is and what your content pillars will be, and you've planned your weekly posting days based on those content pillars. Then you can just bury your head in the sand and create content, coming up for air at the end of the month. You'll be able to be quite strategic with the many themes, as well as space out your material and see everything you're doing in a month. That way, during the month, as you're going through and developing your material, you'll have a lot less concern. I strongly advise you to prepare at least a month ahead of time and to do all of your keyword research, and title writing in one session. This way, you're talking about something important to your audience, but it's a different core piece of content each day, so you're not talking about the same subject for 5 or 6 days in a row. and boring your audience to tears. Make 5 tagged components if you intend to post 5 times per week. If you're just going to post once a week, try this method to keep the content fresh. For example, on Monday, you may publish one topic, and on Tuesday, another, and so on. In this manner, you can ensure that you're publishing content for each of those days and cycling between your pillars and subjects. You must accept that getting the outcomes you desire will take much longer than you would prefer. If that sounds too much for you, and you can only publish one every week, one per week is better than none at all. I recommend publishing at least 3 key pieces of material every week. Chapter 10. The best ideas that get the most conversions when I make AdWords and Facebook ads for Cly. Hence, I usually find that the best ones have content that closely matches the reader's goal and then ask the prospect to do something that will help them reach their goal. When we teach people how to make better ads, we usually stress how important it is to know what the reader wants before making ads. It's the same while generating blog or article material. Consider your reader's objective. Begin your material by joining the dialogue that is currently going on in the reader's head. This means that you need to give clear answers to anyone, questions, or facts your readers might have, rather than attempting to please a broad range of readers. I believe, and my research supports, that it is best to target a smaller subset with a clearly defined, narrowly focused objective. Assume you're writing on how to choose golf clubs, rather than creating one large general post for everyone. It's best to identify subgroups and produce multiple precisely tailored pieces to suit the objective of each subgroup. You may make separate posts articles about selecting golf clubs for ladies, tall individuals, or various balances for different swing styles by directly addressing and resolving a specific problem. In the prospect's mind, you provide the reader with an instant payout that they did not have to look for through an entire page of general content to obtain. In this manner, you have a lot better chance of engaging with your reader, satisfying their needs, and motivating them to take the next step. Check that the image you've picked isn't blurry. For background information as well. Regardless of the topic you are writing about, this should not be missed. You may have a computer screensaver that says, "I hate Facebook," but in your excitement to show the world the chocolate croissants, you took a picture of them on a plate, oblivious to the fact that your computer screen is in the background. Then you share it on Facebook. Viewers who see the image will undoubtedly have a lot to think about and discuss, and it won't just be about the croissant recipe or how delicious they look. Their attention will be drawn to what is displayed on your computer screen. Make a note of the name you want to utilize across several platforms. You are not required to reserve a name until you are ready. If you are still brainstorming, you may join up and store your brand's name for future usage. For example, if you're planning to launch your website, The Best Fans, feel free to follow The Best Fans on Twitter, Facebook, and other prominent platforms. You won't have to worry if someone steals your concept because you already own the name. Also, even if you like a certain name, you should do research first to see if it fits your organization. Innovative with a name, but if the audience has trouble remembering or spelling it, it may not be as original as "you believe." Schedule a time to examine your accounts. You've worked too hard to just ignore what people say on the different platforms. You may wait with your phone in your hand or at your computer, analyzing every remark, like share and respond to a comment, and checking to see how many people noticed your postings using the data provided by Facebook. You could have used that time to come up with your next plan or write your next blog post. Set a timer to monitor your posts instead. It is totally up to you how frequently you desire to do so. Set a timetable so that you don't forget about your accounts. Do not post and then disappear for 2 weeks. Allow your team to publicize your posts. Allow your team to share your material if you have one. If you don't have a team, ask your friends and family to spread the word about your postings. Share your work several times. Sharing your content doesn't mean you have to post your blog article, then share it on Google+ if you use that. Service, then share it on LinkedIn, and finally share it on Facebook and Twitter. Share on each platform many times. Make a schedule. This does not imply that you post on Facebook every 5 minutes. You have the option of posting on Facebook the follow in day or several days later. It is determined by your traffic. If you just have 2 individuals on your Facebook page, you won't need to post as regularly as if you had 200,000 followers. Respond to specific persons. If someone reaches you, do your best to answer as soon as possible. If you posted on your blog about Easter sales and someone asked about them, don't wait until summer to answer. By then, you've already lost a customer. Genuinely care about your readers and go out of your way to make their experience enjoyable. Be self-assured. Even though you are new to content marketing, you shouldn't be afraid to do your job. In the same way, being sure of yourself doesn't mean you should break the law because you think you know everything and are a crowd puller. Being confident implies you want to get the most out of the instruments at your disposal. It is a state of mind. When you have the right mentality, it will show in what you do and what you generate. If you will be working with a group to deliver your mate, rile, educate the group about your goals and instill that degree of confidence in your team members. Aside from demographics, what are the customers you cater to's views and behave? IRL habits, prejudices, and dislikes. Your demographics will show you things like age and region, but what about your audience's beliefs? What motivates them to buy? This data is known as psychographics. If you already have a business, you may conduct interviews with your clients to acquire a deeper understanding. Include those who may be classified as your worst and greatest customers. You will have a better understanding of how your audience perceives your company and what attracts them. Using your data is another technique to investigate this. Assume you have a website containing health-related information. You had free freebies for your diabetes and cholesterol topic. According to your statistics, the number of persons who selected for the free handout about diabetes tests was 3 times that of those who downloaded cholesterol information. According to the findings of the survey, more individuals in your target audience are concerned about diabetes or want to learn more about it. If you want to learn more, you may host surveys on your website where people can provide honest feedback. The data might provide you with a better understanding of why your target audience will buy or incline toward one product over another. What do you want your audience to think about? What emotions do you want your readers to have after reading your content? Do you want people to feel overwhelmed and as if their lives have gotten out of control if you produce health information? Do you chastise them for overeating and failing to exercise? Are you speaking condescendingly? Was that your objective? Or do you want your audience to think it's never too late to start? Do you want them to feel powerful, as if they can do everything they set their minds to and that you would support them along the way? Your material will reflect your newfound knowledge of what you want to accomplish. Tell your story. Outline the approach you will use with your tale. Not only should you produce, but you should also consider which aspect would best help you attain your aims. For Example, if you operate a health website, you can describe your narrative about why you started it. What difficulties did you face? What jolted you awake? How did you reach your health? Objectives? Knowing that you formerly struggled and are now triumphant can help your audience connect with you better. Producers of content. You've determined your target audience. You've completed your content brief. What are your plans for the future? It's time to start creating stuff. You don't have to wait until the end to consider it. However, it is included here because, okay. Finally, after you have already identified someone for the position and established your plan, you may discover that the individual is not the greatest fit for the post. For example, you may have changed few elements in your content brief and chosen that the ultimate result would focus on fashion designs. Assume you've already found a writer with a background in athletics. The gene or rated content is mainly concerned with what athletes wear while competing. On the other hand, you were more interested in the latest European styles and what the high-paid models were wearing, whereas you hope to attract a fashion-conscious audience. Once the content provided by the content creator has drawn sports fans. Perhaps that was your initial plan, but you changed your mind during the brief. You must understand your goals and the steps that will lead you there. That way you can notify the individuals who will assist you with your material, ensuring that everyone is on the same page. Who do you intend to hire to write your content or assist you in developing it? Or do you intend to do it all yourself? It all depends on what your company's goals are. You cannot look at what your competition is doing, since their aims are radically different from yours, even though you are creating the same item. Your foundation must be robust, so choose your crew carefully. You may engage an agency or freelancers to help you with your content. Hiring. When hiring, you will have specific characteristics and talents in mind. You should seek someone motivated and talented rather than someone who is writing simply for a job. What does the individual like about writing? Is the person knowledgeable about content marketing, and do they have any supplementary skills? Does the individual meet deadlines? Is the writer capable of multitasking? You may also question how the writer chooses what themes to write about and what structure to use. This inquiry will provide you with more information about the person's cognitive process and what pushes him or her to behave. Or perhaps the writer chooses a topic based on facts, analytics, and current trends. You'd hire someone who can make ideas and give guidance. Editorial schedule. The following step is to organize your priorities. What will you publish? And when will it be available? Do not take this move lightly. You almost certainly put your events on a calendar as a reminder. Similarly, you must plan when you will develop your content and what supporting actions will be required. Produce material only to feel like you're accomplishing something. Maintain your attention by sticking to your strategy. Where to distribute your content. You will begin with your website. Consider it your home base. Then you'll disseminate your material via multiple channels such as email, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and a slew of other platforms at your disposal. Only you know which platforms are ideal for you. However, be willing to try new things and explore other choices. Material marketing does not include frantically trying to locate an audience and then tailoring your content to them. Content marketing is strategic and everything well thought out takes time. It is not possible to hasten the construction of the foundation. The audience will be drawn to your platform once you have invested in material that is worthy and valuable. Chapter 11. Audience Entertainment and Engagement Strategies. It is advised that you do everything when launching your first content business. As your company grows, you might begin to outsource jobs that do not explicitly require your involvement. You may begin by hiring a virtual assistant through the website Upwork, but as your business grows, you can elevate the same virtual assistant to a full-time position. I'm not advocating delegation just for the sake of delegation. When you can no longer keep up with your content creation schedule on your own and your wish to focus on additional business-building tasks, you delegate. You can only try to accomplish two things at this point. 1. Genuine content production, and 2. Sponsor outreach to make income. Research for your content development, maintaining your content schedule, researching and reaching out to prospective guests, coordinating with guests for interviews and guests. Written articles, graphics development for your content, and preparing show notes and graphics for podcast episodes are all tasks that freelancers can assist with. As your company grows, you will become more adept at determining what to do personally and what to delegate. 1. Conduct research when it comes to outstanding copywriting. Research is the most vital term. Fill your head with more study data than you'll need for a certain article. This will allow you to write more fluidly. Poor research results in the choppy material you find on many websites. Many authors rush to the writing stage without first performing adequate research for the job at hand. Discordant material is typically the consequence of hasty research once a writer realizes they do not have enough or have wandered from the topic of interest. Furthermore, performing adequate research assists you in overcoming writer's block. When you study, you gather more than enough material to allow you to discuss and experiment with numerous disattribution methods. The significance cannot be overstated. Research requires more than simply reading books, white papers, and other materials. It also entails brainstorming to see how a product might help your target audience. 2. Make your writing more interesting. You cannot boring your audience into purchasing your stuff, but you can intrigue them till they purchase, said one prominent sales copywriter. Learn to make your writing entertaining to the point that the comedy you add helps your writing aim. This implies that it must be topical humor. Some ideas for using comedy and making your writing more engaging: adjust your writing to appeal to the audience's senses. When you learn to appeal to the senses, you gain a vital talent in influencing your audience's needs and yearnings. Good authors cultivate their audience's desires and inspire them to act on those desires. Make use of visual content such as photos and images. Most of the material on the internet is indeed seen more by visuals than by words. You may also create pictures by using the vivid description. Make your information appealing to different senses. If you are marketing restaurant specialties, you may use VOW-related phrases to appeal to the reader's sense of taste. Make use of controversies. Controversies will drive critical readers to spend more time reading your information. When you keep a reader's interest, you increase your chances of converting them because you intersperse your information with the things you want to offer. Use the conflicts to persuade people to adopt a position, which is generally one that supports your final selling purpose. Tell your story. People enjoy hearing stories. Learn to tell stories that pique your reader's interest and persuade them to see things from your point of view. 3. Keep it simple. If you can't describe anything clearly, you probably don't understand it. Einstein, Albert. The ability to take complicated concepts and transmit them in a way that a layperson understands is a copy. Writer's true expertise. This is not to say that you should never utilize technical language when necessary. It implies you should write as if you're educating someone. I once heard a radio host tell his audience that he wants people to explain things to him like a 2-year-old. The purpose of a teacher is to ensure that the student understands the subject. It is certainly not to overload them with new words and phrases. 4. Develop a distinctive personality in today's competitive business world. You must carve out a distinct identity and personality. Such personality should be compatible with the things you sell. You may create a distinct identity for yourself by using a specific voice, having a main selling point, creating a brand identity. Your speak adopt a voice that allows you to easily communicate with your audience. In my situation, I prefer to employ both first and second person voices. You directly engage your audience by pushing them and asking them questions that pique their interest, all while portraying yourself as a part of their world. The third person voice frequently fails to identify with the audience and seems as remarks from the sidelines. Featured product, many strategies are utilized to entice the audience to buy what the writer wants them to. One such strategy is to restrict the length of time the reader has to profit from a certain product. Gifts can also be used as a selling point. Gifts that bring value to the lives of your readers have a better chance of turning them into real consumers of your stuff. Coupons can also be used as a selling factor. There are several approaches, but they all contribute to your individuality. Brand characteristics. Your brand's personality should be immediately distinguishable. Create a niche by finding what your competitors lack. Include it in your brand, especially if it helps the buyer solve an additional component of what the product is trying to address. This distinguishes it. Adopt a set color scheme and stick to it. These colors should be reflected consistently in your logos, insignia, and letterheads. 5. Improve your headings. Your headlines and subheadings should pique the reader's interest and hold it until they begin to explore deeper into the main material. According to research, 5 times more people read the headlines on the internet than the text of those headings. In a world where people's attention spans are dropping by the minute, you'll need every tool in your toolbox to get them to notice you. How to write effective headlines. You must first compose your content to create the most appealing and succinct headlines. You extract the deadly punches from such stuff and skillfully cap your essay with them. Choose the most powerful terms from your content for your headers and subheadings. Remember the 4 U's of headlines: urgency, uniqueness, utility, and ultra-precision. Learn to hint in the headline or subhead, and then deliver on the promise in the body. Never use headlines that have no relationship to the information that follows them. More strategies for great headlines. Creating a clear image. Draw a mental image of what is being discussed. Head. Lines with pertinent images are intriguing and capture the reader's imagination. They can then simply connect what you write to the pre-made visuals. Creating an emotional response in your audience. Humans are emotional creatures. You've done half the work if you can create headlines that appeal to your audience's sensibilities and emotions. If you offer flowers for weddings, learn to picture the romantic moment in your mind. What colors are associated with the most meaning? Flu times in love relationships. If you are a news reporter, investigate the impact of the situations you cover. Express how victims of injustice endure, or how a kind act has altered someone's life. The goal is to make the reader sense your presence. Make them read like people, not machines or scanners. Investigate your self-interest. Readers will cease reading headlines that are relevant to their interests. People frequently visit websites with a specific goal in mind. The sooner you figure out what people want, the better. This discovery should be translated into headlines that are relevant to what consumers seek. 6. Simplify your writing. Writers have a natural propensity to attempt to be witty. You should keep in mind, however, that content creation is mostly about sales, not fiddling with words and linguistic prowess. Learn to be concise and present your idea in a way that your audience will comprehend as quickly as possible. If you're marketing a service or a product, make it easy for them to see the benefits. Using reduced form does not exclude the use of technical jargon when necessary. Jargon like this should be clarified. 7. Give the reader what they want. To sell well, you must undertake some research. You can simply sell your items after you know what the readers want. since you customize and custom manufacture them to meet unique demands and desires. Chapter 12. Best Practices and Techniques. The power of words may alter the course of a company, not its future. This may appear to be a bold claim, but after reading this chapter, you realize why. Customers benefit from the adoption of excellent content, authoring, approaches. Speaking from personal experience, this writer believes that a love of language is essential for content creation. Continuing education and experience can help, but it is impossible to please a customer without it when it comes to content writing. Begin by convincing yourself that to produce value with words, you must employ successful content creation approaches. These are full of a talking and linked language in which you are carried away by the rhythm of the sentences, the light and non-resonant sounds, and breathing between commas and periods, all of which are capable of giving effect to a notion. The ability to combine all of these characteristics is not simple to learn. Although writing is for everyone, using it to achieve a purpose is one of the most challenging components of the vast and complex field of content marketing. Many essential elements must be included to produce outcomes through content writing techniques. Pick a strategy appropriate for the target. Analyze the appropriate instruments for communication. Gather valuable resources for what is communicated. And regard the client as a person, not as a public. Add the most vital component to all of these: the capacity to inform by revealing one's character. Only a corpora tin that gives something of itself to its client may be respected. The buyer wants to feel pampered, not duped by the terminology used. What comes to mind when you hear industry leader? He wants to know who is behind a brand, to be a part of something wonderful, because it is free of reasoning that is just focused on commerce. Furthermore, the buyer wishes to take stories home with him. It's not because he enjoys telling stories. Most of the time, he isn't even aware of what it is. He's curious about the tales because they turn a product or service into something valuable and indispensable. Introducing content writing strategies to a corporation, it is obvious that to make a firm renowned, the correct words must be used. Words that communicate about the business without the goal of selling, but rather of providing extra value. Content writing skills are a significant assist in accomplishing this efficiently. These are the techniques used by wordsmiths to combine strategy with emotion. How do you do it practically? Before we get into the essential tactics for displaying a brand's corporate spirit, there is something you must accomplish first. Approach the display. Don't be concerned. You will only be instructed to scan each syllable thoroughly. Listen to what the entrepreneur has to say before writing about it. Do not consider the appropriate terms. For the time being, forget about putting all you've learned about SEO content authoring into practice. For the time being, disregard the company's strategies. Spend some time listening to what the brand has to say. Translate his message and learn about his entrepreneurial heart. Live with the entrepreneur, his emotions, and the traits that distinguish what he offers. Listen to it multiple times. Take a deep breath, and tally process everything. You are now prepared to write utilizing content writing approaches. You can now select the appropriate terms. There are 5 essential strategies suggested. Define the tone of voice that will represent the firm. Captivate your reader's interest with an intriguing incipit that includes the major keyword of your SEO plan. It is in charge of text simplification and legibility. Make a verbal connection with the reader. Tell a genuine story. The need of telling oneself online was emphasized to the customer through content authoring. If you go this route, it will become the most effective approach to sympathize with the consumer who does not require a showcase site that presents a list of items and services. He wants to learn and fulfill his consumer curiosity as well as comprehend and imagine with his intellect. All of this is possible because of language. The company and reader become 2 characters on a shared journey. each of which values the other. A corporation or entrepreneur that presents and offers himself online should do so without fear or hesitation. He should not be frightened to make mistakes. If this occurs, he confesses his error and plans to make adjustments. The words that a firm publishes help it expand in modest stages. It does not demand to be perceived for what it is not. It neither criticizes itself nor promises the unachievable. Furthermore, it takes into account the advice of people who follow its exploits on the internet, especially those who show humanity. If all of this is allowed to happen, words may produce value and lead to a result when combined with a digital marketing plan and a healthy dosage of empathy for the consumer. This is how a company's fate will alter. Writing effective copy requires practice and dedication, but it also necessitates something that many of us despise: homework. To develop captivating ad text, you must examine the project from every viewpoint. For whom are you writing? What are they looking for to read? What will pique their interest? What will pique their interest? What are the most effective keywords to include? Should you employ a friendly, conversational tone, or is this an all-business audience? Before writing a single word, a skilled copywriter understands the answers to these questions. Of course, once the process is underway, every content writing assignment should begin in the same manner. With a headline, we cannot overstate the importance of the title. The success or failure of your content writing services is dependent on your ability to construct a headline with a gravity well that NASA could measure. As cliché as it may sound, if your reader does not read past the headline, you do not have a reader. A headline's 3 responsibilities. A headline should state the most important advantage of your product. A compelling headline should entice readers to read on. Your title should entice your prospect to continue reading your sales letter on your website. It is crucial to create a strong statement about your headline without giving away too much information so that the reader does not have to read the body of the message to learn more. A headline should deliver a mini sales message. Let's look at some of the hidden tactics you may employ while creating material to generate a great title that will entice your visitors. Size does matter. This recommendation appears to be at the beginning of every content writing handbook, but it bears repeating. It is not an effective headline if it does not fit neatly into a tweet with space for links and hashtags. The golden spot is 120 characters, and keep in mind that search engines only index the first 65 characters. So make sure your title starts with a bang. Avoid being ambiguous. Before they click on your content, your reader should be aware of what they are putting themselves into. If you've discovered a creative and eye-catching pun piece of wordplay that isn't as clear as the subject of your article, keep it for the subhead or body text. Later, be creative and funny. The headline is only the hook. Who else desires it? This is one of the fundamental secrets of good headline crafting that has been proven to work time and again. Use your headline to imply that your subject is already something that others know, use, enjoy, or are otherwise engaged in, and thus your reader is missing out on something important by not clicking. Does anyone want to lose 10 pounds? I most surely do. Make it a little more mysterious. Words like secret or little-known facts can entice readers since they will assume they are receiving knowledge that others are not aware of. Buying a house isn't a fascinating title, but the secret to getting the best mortgage rate or little-known facts about getting approved for a home loan may entice people searching for information they won't find elsewhere. Still not sure it works? Take another look at the title of this article. Still not convinced? Make use of numbers. Numbers might assist to quantify what you're saying. Getting a better body is a good title, but getting a better body in 2 weeks and 10 steps to get a better body in 2 weeks is even better. Readers feel more at ease when they see numbers, especially those in the 10s and 20s. An article on losing weight is still an article, and today's internet reader is fickle and wants information quickly. 10 recommendations, on the other hand, seem straightforward and easy to scale. And even the most skittish reader can stay around for a list of 10 items. Second, adding in 2 weeks at the end amplifies your assertion and helps you stand out in a field of other papers about comparable topics. As previously said, readers are fickle. Most of us have become accustomed to using the internet to get answers and solve issues. Websites provide instant solutions to almost any of our inquiries. From home renovation to healthcare, and smart content creation capitalizes on this mentality. You'll be honey for the speedy bee reader if you craft a headline that meets their demand for a rapid fix or instant fulfillment. Items such as how to get rid of carpenter ants once and for all, or the fastest way to get over a cold, is nearly certain to outperform publications with the same content. But a Blaze headline, it should be amplified. So, you've got a strong hook and a good headline. 10 ways to get rich. Not bad, but there is space for improvement, and we can spice up your content writing with some powerful words and aggressive statements. If 10 ways to get rich is a good title, 10 ways to get filthy rich in just 1 year is an excellent one. But remember the other laws of content writing. Keep it tweetable and don't make promises in your title that you can't meet in your piece. The following are the best practices and techniques. 1. Capture their attention. Titles and subheadlines are your first chance to get people. Please attention. If the reader enjoys your headline, they may opt to read the rest of your page quickly. Use descriptive phrases and give a reward, carrot, as well as a solution for them to avoid discomfort, stick. How to avoid discomfort without doing. 2. Recognize and relate to the issue. Now that you've had your reader's attention, you need to figure out what problems they're experiencing and how they're feeling about them. Write about what other people who are coping with similar situations are saying. Your readers should be able to relate to the concerns and say, "Yeah, that's my problem and how I feel too," or "These folks seem like they're struggling with the same challenges as me." Next, dramatize the concerns so that your readers can feel them. This strategy is known as problem. Agitate in the world of content authoring. This implies poking and prodding the aching region until the person is reminded that the problem is truly a significant pain in the buttocks for them. Because pain and misery are powerful motivators, you must drive a reader into their pain zone until they realize they need help. When writing a sales letter, you have far more leeway in poking their buttons. You may do this more gently when writing a blog or other material, and talking about the unpleasant item or their lack of something they want. More subtly, you can still make people want it, along with the anguish of possible loss if they don't have it. Whatever, there it is. You can discuss potential implications as well as how other individuals feel once they have addressed their challenge. Build on their worry and develop it, but not to the point that they lose hope in finding a solution. 3. Offer a solution. You may now lead your readers to hope for a solution after you've piqued their attention by exposing their issue and reminding them how it's causing them agony. This is when you start educating them on the solution. Increase attention and trustworthiness. You may accomplish this by sharing tales or providing examples. 4. Establish credibility. It's time to tell your reader who you are and why they should believe you. Why? Because your reader does not yet know you. Why should they believe anything you say? Include social proof to give them a strong foundation for trusting your remarks. At this point, you may focus on expanding on that foundation by discussing your experience in detail and intro, duking any of the following. 1. Your notable awards or recognitions. 2. How long have you been working in your field of expertise? 3. Conferences where you have served as a guest speaker. 4. Successful case studies. 5. A painful acknowledgement demonstrating that you have made and learned from your faults. 6. Famous people you've worked with or done bus. Ness with this demonstrates that you've worked hard and made errors to earn your credibility. It also demonstrates to your readers that you have the knowledge and ability to teach them what they need to do to get the desired results. Add a harmful admission. If you have made any major mistakes that are embarrassing or silly. But, and here is the important part, talk about the valuable, invaluable, and Bayer expensive valuable lessons you learned as a result. I strongly suggest you use them in your content. It's okay to be apprehensive at this stage. Just remember that people are more trusting of someone prepared to admit, hey, I'm not perfect, and I don't pretend to be. Your readers are likely to want to know about your significant blunders, so they may avoid them in the future. Your reputation will grow if you are willing to go out on a limb and talk about your flaws. Of course, this only works for things that can't be seen as hurting other people on purpose. However, if you made a legitimate error, and we all have, please share it. Thomas Edison's response to the question, how did it? Failed to fail 1,000 times before you develop the light bulb is a fantastic example of turning so-called failures into positives. I didn't fail 1,000 times, he famously said. It was only a 1,000-step procedure. As Mr. Edison did, point out the benefits of your mistakes and think of them as a learning curve with a reward or a good end. Make your mistakes about your reader and how they can avoid the 1,000 steps you took before they succeed. 5. Show and explain the advantages. Put on your teacher hat and show your audience how they can use the information you're giving them to get what they want. Keep in mind that individuals desire to feel a specific way. They want to know what the product or service they are considering purchasing can accomplish for them. And they care about this far more than the color or the sophisticated technology. This means talking quickly, but not too much, about the features of a product or service before spending a lot more time talking about how it might help them reach their goal. Allowing you to do insert everything they wish to have and experience as a consequence of purchasing the. Let's take a brief detour. Draw a line along the center of a piece of paper. On the left side, including all of the benefits of your product or service. Consider all of it. The advantages of each point and write down all of them. Ways those characteristics and advantages can help them achieve their goals. Assume you're offering new sort of mobile phone range extender that uses the most recent innovation in iridium crystal technology. You could mention how the range extender 5000 uses cutting-edge iridium crystal technology, but what's more important, obviously, is how those fancy blue crystals increase a mobile phone's range by over 450, allowing them to enjoy that fishing or skiing trip while remaining reachable for the first time if they need to take office calls. Consider the apparent benefits and then expand on how these benefits will make your reader feel. How many advantages will improve their lives? Use the if, then without structure, which means if you do this, then you can have insert the item they wanted without having to insert the suffering that is, nor Molly connected with doing or gaining what they want. Use bullet points if you want to make the text easier to read and point out several good things about your product or service. 6. Include social proof and third-party recommendations. At this stage, the reader's rational side generally begin to emerge. At this point, testimonials and third-party endorsements from acquaintances can be included too. Back up what you say and give more proof of your reliability. Use case studies or other evidence to demonstrate that you are who you claim you are and that you can deliver on your promises. 7. Justify and create trust. Whatever someone desires, they will search for logical reasons to justify their purchase at some point, generally, as they are ready to whip out a credit card to pay for it. Have you ever seen a L'Oreal commercial and observed that in the conclusion, the model always adds, "Because you're worth it"? This is because the brand understands that for some women, cosmetics are a luxury that they do not feel they deserve. It's a strong way of saying you should feel comfortable about purchasing our cosmetics. It's a pretty clever advertisement. Assist your readers in justifying their purchase. You may provide them with value-based arguments why it's worthwhile, reasons based on personal happiness. Even peer-based incentives like your staff wife friends would greatly appreciate it. You should also ensure that they feel they are capable of doing what you are suggesting. If your service requires training, knowledge, or self-discipline, you must make your reader feel like they can get it. They may believe they are not renowned enough, competent enough, attractive enough, or have already failed. There could be many reasons why they don't have faith in themselves or in someone else's ability to help them reach their goal. To do this, you may relate to other people who have had similar painful experiences, but then add a point of difference to illustrate why and how they overcome those difficulties and succeeded by doing things differently. Explain or demonstrate that you understand why they were unable to obtain what they desired previously and why it is now achievable. The key is that you must make them believe they can accomplish or be what they require to obtain what they desire. Give them a reason to believe that the decision to buy is not just a good one from a desire standpoint. It makes them feel good, but also that it is feasible and financially sound. Make it simple for them to tick all of the boxes they need to check to make a purchase. 8. Address any concerns. When making a purchase, practically everyone has questions and concerns that must be addressed. The last thing you want is for someone to quit your page because you didn't respond to their query. Collect all of the research-related questions and concerns. You accomplish many things by focusing on main problems and incorporating a few often asked questions. You know your audience will want to know the solutions to. You're verifying that you're aware of their concerns. You are implying or indicating that you have addressed the issues that they are concerned about. You are validating those who believe their query is ridiculous. Other individuals have expressed similar fears, yet purchasing your goods or service has worked out quite well for them. You are reaffirming your intention to address and resolve your readers' complaints in the future. This is your chance to reconnect with your readers and reassure them that you understand and are attentive to their needs. As a consequence, people will believe you are sincere in your desire to serve them. 9. Describe your offering. One of the most crucial aspects of any sales letter is your offer. It must captivate the audience with an appealing combination of pricing, terms, and added value. You may now discuss everything your reader will receive if they purchase your goods or service. Give them a bullet point summary of everything, then explain each topic in further depth. If applicable, include a slew of extras to boost the perceived worth of your deal. You get this, and that. Be precise and straightforward. You can get to the point in this section since you've done the preparation work for it. The portion in which you pitch your offer. 10. A shopping list. Remember how I mentioned the shopping list in the TV salesman example? This is where you provide a list of must-haves for anyone looking for the greatest. Provide your readers with a checklist of things to look for in a product or service to guarantee they are receiving the greatest value, quality, or whatever you want to promote. Add your list of must-haves for anyone who may opt to go elsewhere and evaluate other offers. You can offer your unique selling propositions, USPs, and emphasize the importance of these points and their advantages over the competition. 11. Include a guarantee or service commitment. You may give a guarantee or a free trial to make your offer risk-free or low risk. A. Back guarantee. You may emphasize your dedication to customer care and describe how you handle consumer questions. It is critical to underline your guarantee or customer service policy so that readers understand what to expect if something goes wrong. Provide the strongest guarantee you can afford. If you are not confident in your capacity to discover the buyers and give something of enormous value to them, you are either targeting the wrong individuals or need to conduct more research on what you need to offer to please them. 12. Use scarcity or another motivator to get people to act right now. Even if your offer is appealing, if a reader has no incentive to act right away, they will not be pushed to make a decision. This might be because their condition is not severe enough to need immediate attention. It could be because they are waiting for more funds to purchase. They may wish to browse around, or they may just believe they will return later and purchase when they are ready. Most of the time, individuals require an additional reason to purchase immediately. Assist them in overcoming the barrier of shortage. Offer a limited amount of items, services, or memberships to build urgency. You can specify a time restriction, or just withdraw the entire offer on a certain date. Whatever you choose as your point of urgency, make sure you stick to it. If you indicate a discount will stop on a certain day or time, keep your word and discontinue it when you say you will. If you don't, your audience will believe there is no urgency, and worse, that you are untrustworthy. Again, anything you contribute must be genuine and consistent. 13. Include a call to action and a reason why they should act right away. So far, your viewers have read a lot. They are aware of your offer and what to expect. You must now instruct them on what to do next. In a straightforward, simple, and direct manner, request that they take action. Begin right now by doing this. Take them to the next level. Some individuals feel pushy telling people what to do, but it's courteous and beneficial to guide your audience once to the next step. Much like taking a customer to the front of a store to make a purchase, it's only basic decency to guide them where to go next rather than leaving them hanging, unsure of what to do. If you're writing a blog article, you may tell people where they can get additional information or buy the item mentioned in the piece. If you're submitting content to another organization's blog, you may also include a call to action in your profile. Your bio should include a brief statement about your skills and how you assist others in achieving their goals. As a description of what you do, you might include a hook that incorporates what the reader wants. Instead of a purchase this now style call to action, you might include a promise of more of what they desire. Learn more about how to is a popular and apparent example. Or Maya Gordon teaches people how to without really doing. If you're writing a sales letter, include anything that piques their interest and makes them want to learn more, or explicitly ask them to take action. 14. Conclude with a PS, summarizing what they get and why they must act now. You might be shocked to hear that many content writers consider the postscript or PS after their material to be one of the most significant elements of a sales letter. Your reader has had a lot to take in. By the time they get to the bottom of the page, they may have forgotten about some of the reasons why buying your item is a good choice for them in particular. This is why it's critical to recap what they'll receive and remind them why it's a great decision to acquire. Assist your reader in console, ideating their objectives and moving past any last-minute reservations. Remind them why they must act now and what they must do. Again, you must be clear, succinct, specific, and straight. Forward about what you want of them. That's it, you're finished. Well, almost. Allow your content piece to sit for a day before going over it again. Proofreading session the next day will help you refine your text to a polished, completed product. And you'll uncover all those minor errors you swore you fixed the day before. Here are some pointers to remember while creating a copy. Don't be too hard on yourself. It doesn't have to impress your English instructor as long as your grammar and spelling are decent, but it should speak to the individuals to whom it is most relevant. They'll be far more interested in how well you comprehend what they want and need than in your writing ability. Make use of your study to identify features and benefits. Keep them on hand at all times and tie them to your reader's intended goal. Keep track of any fantastic writing ideas you have. In this manner, you may create your database of winning phrases, keep your phrases and paragraphs brief, and avoid using a lot of commas. The goal is to write in a clear and easy to understand language for a hurried reader. Don't be concerned with the lengthy copy. Extensive copy is beneficial to search engine rankings. Google appreciates lengthy text that is useful and instructional. According to research, our readers don't mind extensive material as long as it's swimmable and offers information that's useful to them. They should be able to locate what they are searching for if your layout is clean and well saced. With clear titles, do not be terrified of blank space. Allow for lots of space around your text to accentuate it. To accentuate key points, use bolding, italics, and underlining. Highlighting can also be used sparingly. Chapter 13. How to create a strategy and who to involve. You must have the plan to write properly. The topic of your work should inform such a plan. With a plan allows you to cover all of the necessary components of the subject and more. Let's find out what this strategy should contain. 1. Maintain a swipe file. One of the first writing tactics I learned from my mentor was to document and save all of the works I ranked highly. Throughout my writing career, there are moments when your mind wanders while writing, yet you should keep going. The PC era, together with the benefits of evolutions such as cloud storage services, makes it much easier to save and access your swipe file. If you carefully file and keep all of your writing's power lines, they may be a powerful source and trigger for content creation. Take a pause and go over your excellent writing files. You quickly get your bearing and assimilate the stir you had lost into your present activity. Objective no. 2. Content writing, like any good writing, requires a clear route path. You must select a topic for your writing and devote all of your research to it. Aside from the topic at hand, you must provide a distinct sales pitch. It is vital to continuously examine the direction of your text to ensure that you stay on track. It is sometimes more useful to take breaks between writing sessions to concentrate and ponder what you are campaigning for. For moderately long writing assignments, a 30-minute break every hour or two is recommended. 3. Disrupt conventional thoughts. A frequent expression refers to growing ideas and creative growth. It is widely stated that thinking outside the box is the greatest way to find solutions to recurring difficulties. As a copywriter, you must look around you and draw inspiration from global politics and even the arts sector. Fame and money are frequently wooed in unusual ways. I know you believed it was an accident when your favorite Hollywood celebrity was published in a tabloid, or the New York Times is having pushed boundaries in some way, socially or otherwise. Many rising stars in the performing arts and film industries have risen to prominence and money as a result of the controversy. A copywriter should also incite a debate. Choose issues that will pique people's interest. Join forces with the insurgents and you'll earn both detractors and support. When people discuss your ideas, it shows you have piqued their interest. Rebels and dissidents provide you with a forum for argument in a variety of settings. Nonetheless, your writing remains the focal point. This allows you to reach as many individuals as possible who are interested in the debate, attempting something different from what the readers anticipate results in good reading. Nobody wants to read what they already know or expect to read. Chapter 14. How to build a content-related business. The more difficulties you can address in the customer's mind, the lower their guard will be and the closer you will be to making purchase. In content writing, you may not even address that level of doubt, since it is irrelevant to the tale. These are two quite distinct types of writing. The first sells the goods, while the second sells the tale. Good content writers may find flaws in the competitors. They examine the items, test them, and make comparisons. One thing they check for is the competition's vulnerabilities, since those deficiencies assist the copywriter to come up with strengths when presenting their items. They know the audience is aware of such flaws and don't need to resort to name-calling to get their point through. I am confident that you can always make improvements to any essay you want to send to a proofreader. The following points. Have you written a strong lead to pique your readers' interest? Each tale must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Create a stream for your account. Try not to be afraid to make changes. The change benefits all accounts. Try not to be a carbon copy of anyone else. Act organically and allow your style to develop spontaneously. Keep in mind that style differs from proper word usage. Always strive to improve. The less complicated your composition is, the better. When changing your job, consider whether it meets an immediate need. Get to the heart of your narrative. Make an effort not to waste too much time approaching your point. Lay up your story's content in a logical order. Try not to let your thoughts wander. Make use of a lot of paragraphs. Large stretches of duplication are not permitted in paper or magazine design. Divide it up. Long sentences are inferior to short ones. Use actual action phrases that correspond to what you're saying. Use the active voice when writing. Lean toward the familiar over the extraordinary. Instead of the dynamic, use the right term. To get around, use brief words. Try not to be very imaginative or astute. Exaggerations should be avoided. Avoid lecturing your reader. Display it to them. Use conversation, tales, and incidents to your advantage. Avoid using a lengthy tale. Get statements to back up your tale and wake it up. Avoid relying on modifiers. These have a little place in good content authoring. Try not to stray from the main points of your tale. Try not to be tedious. Instead, say what you need to say in the most concise way possible. Avoid using unnecessary accentuation. Keep yourself out of the narrative. If you want to express your feelings, write a letter to the editor. Why can content writing techniques help your arty? Clues. Article promotion. It is critical to attracting people to read your articles while advertising your business with them. More people will visit your website if they read your content. In any event, what are some strategies for getting more people to read your articles? You may employ content writing tactics on the articles themselves to attract more people to read them. The headline, for example, is the most important part of the essay. The title should be taken into account. Will not read the information if it fails to capture their interest. Crafting the title is similar to writing the head. Line in content writing. You'll learn how to develop original article titles by learning how to write headlines. Try integrating an advantage in the title to create titles that catch attention. 3 tips to boost sales by 300, for example, carries clout. Another content writing method is to emphasize the title. Following the title, you must write persuasive introductory portions. This is referred to as the lead in content. Authoring. Your introductory sentences must entice the reader to continue reading, or else the individual will abandon the book. The problem organization approach is a common way to write opening parts that capture attention. Keep track of and sympathize with the reader's problems. Furthermore, illustrate that reading your post will provide the solution. Your reader may be skeptical of your ideas. There are many masters out there that provide advice and claim to be professionals. Skepticism is addressed in content. Authoring by verifying. As a result, you'll need to show your readers that your ideas are sound. Individual precedents, documented facts, research, or measurements can all be used to provide proof. Appropriate technique to provide proof is to provide an example of someone overcoming difficulty by applying your views. Your asset box should be placed at the end of your content. Individuals will most likely navigate to your site. You'll need to include advantages and a recommendation to take action, just as in content writing. What they will gain from visiting your website. After that, direct the reader to your website. You might also include your US unique selling proposition in the asset box. Your competitors are also fighting for your reader's attention, so your US pushes you to stand out and explains why you're the better choice. Other content writing tactics you'll need to employ include writing in short phrases, writing in brief passages, and making your post easy to read. So, start by studying one content writing approach and putting it into practice right away. Your article will be improved immediately. Effective online content writing methods. Online content writing is one of the most well-paying content writing jobs available today. Large corporations rely on this call to bring rush hour traffic to their website and to increase their agreements. For anybody interested in becoming an internet marketing expert, here are 4 tried and true online content writing strategies that will silence critics while forcefully inducing. Tell a tale. Everyone appreciates a narrative that evokes their emotions. Narrating has consistently been an excellent approach for experienced web content authors in gaining the sympathies of prospects. Stories, particularly those that allow readers to relate to their situation, may connect with the brain and emotions in ways that other marketing strategies cannot. Good tales enable the publicist to demonstrate to readers that he understands their situation and has the product or service that can assist them to solve their problem. Addition, tales allow readers to form their own opinions about what is being presented to them. Create excitement for the feature. With a full first tense, a good web content writer can quickly grab the attention of a reader. Ingeniously combine the item's benefits with powerful phrases such as certified, outstanding, proved, exceptional, and so on. A page has 10 seconds to capture the attention of readers. In that amount of time, a marketing expert must use dominating eye, catching phrases to entice readers to stay and read the rest of the material. This is a test that every publicist must face. It is rather difficult yet doable. Things would be preferable to tone it down. A long, winded text can confuse and fatigue a reader. Sybil, a marketing expert, should show what's good about a product rather than write a lot about it. If a piece is written in this way, it may be much easier to read and make a big point much clearer. Create a sense of urgency. Critical thinking is being tailored via online content writing. After reading the material, readers should be encouraged to take action. They should be aware of what they will pick up or lose if the object is not organized. The text should include something like free enrollment till July or request now for a limited period. Search engine optimization techniques for content creation. Follow these steps to become a fantastic SEO content writer. Titling. The title of the material has an important role in SEO. The title should be written so that it includes the catch phrase and does a good job of explaining what the material is about. The title is what draws the reader's attention. 80% of the general public looks at the substances. Body. The headline entices readers to read on. The substance's body, reiterating the focus on keywords to some extent at the beginning of the body has any effect. Some online search technologies will recognize your piece of content more easily. Similarly, be certain that it isn't rehashed. Beyond a certain point. Subheadings. This is another area where you may profit. Directed key words can also be used as subheadings. This enhances how online search engines interpret the sites and how clients interact with various pages. Correlated and equivalent words. A good piece of writing should include the targeted key words as well as comparable and related terms to the key words. This is a very important thing to do because using too many keywords can be cut down without changing the setting of the content. Keep the material precise and cautious. The substance's setting should not be compromised at ing. He shouldn't get lost halfway through. The mate. Ryle should move one way or the other. Turn around the watchword and ultimately satisfy the reader. A good SEO content writer should make sure that the keyword is in sync with the text and include it. Should not notice the repetition of the catchphrase at any point. This gives the site the wrong impression. Be client-centered. It is good to examine various sorts of advertising. Watch TV commercials and study magazine advertisements to comprehend the subtleties displayed. If one product promises to accomplish one thing, yours must not just provide that one thing, but also provide more. Don't exploit your competitors' weaknesses. You're not doing a good job as a copywriter. I recall seeing an advertisement for an airline whose tickets were rather pricey. This occurred during a period when No Frills Airlines were complaining about being able to carry customers from point A to point B in a very short amount of time without charging for all of the frills. All of the recent TV concerns about low-cost airlines sprang to me right away. As a result, exploiting the competition's vulnerability was rather simple. Their perceived strength was their vulnerability. Some tourists prefer the luxury and pleasure of being treated versus buying everything on the cheap. After all, how frequently do you take a vacation? In this case, the optimal content writing for advertising. More costly flights would employ phrases like exclusive, customer care, comfort, space, as opposed to the thoughts consumers had about cheap airlines. Of the rooms, the speed with which they were changed, and the quantity of hand baggage passengers permitted. There were no such limits for premium flights. There were no additional fees for excess baggage. And while the rates were higher, the holidays provided luxurious accommodations with enough room to maneuver, as well as the greatest customer service available. It is critical to understand that content creation is about encapsulating the company's message in a short amount of time in order to be remembered more than competitors. When presented with several options, a buyer is more likely to choose an item that is known to them. That familiarity might have resulted through creative content writing rather than from someone recommend in the product or the buyer has ever used it before. Copyright must include the following elements: the usefulness of the product, the strength it has over rivals, weaknesses, why people should purchase it or trust the brand, a persuasive case in support of the product. If any of these factors are absent from the copywriter's commercial, the corporation may lose out on prospected income. As you can see, it's not as straightforward as creating a product description. It's about knowing the concept behind it, the product's strengths, and the competition's limitations. As a result, it is not simple writing, and if you believe it is, you may be looking at the incorrect job. Clever phrasing is used in content authoring. It's advertised on the street. You see it on neon signs, but unless it's cleverly written, the message it conveys is forgettable. That is why individuals are willing to pay high money for content writers. They understand that it might make the difference between getting the word out to the public and completely missing the mark, which could cost the organization a lot of money. You should also keep in mind that you must appeal to the segment of society to whom the product is geared. In certain circumstances, advertisers employ unusual strategies. The copywriter considered people's sentiments towards lending firms in a particularly successful campaign to entice them to borrow money. They were dubbed loan sharks. Before considering these firms as credible options, they looked at the amount of interest they charged. Wanga.com advertised a group of older persons past retirement as lenders, earning the public's trust since they would not conceive of these elderly people as capable of defrauding them. As the organization expanded in size and the chows got more frequent, individuals began to see borrowing money as a legitimate alternative for getting them through difficult times. Wanga made it appear simple for customers to obtain funds, yet they catered to the middle and working classes. They also utilized the phrase fast little loans, making the reality that individuals needed to borrow money to survive to seem inconsequential. There are numerous instances of the finest and worst advertisements on websites such as YouTube, but keep in mind that content writing was engaged in all of them. If a firm fails, chances are the copywriter was unsuccessful in conveying the message that the company desired, and the audience did not enjoy or get any good message from the advertisements. I remember a variety of advertising over the years, but those that stood out had a conversation with which I felt at ease. That's all there is to it. It's no longer enough to communicate a subliminal message through advertising, and those that don't always get the message over. Clever content writing, on the other hand, will always yield positive results, and that is what people pay content writers to do. Results that demonstrate an increase in revenues. Even manufacturers are paying attention to what the public thinks of their products and using this feedback in their content production. For example, when ink cartridges were so costly, advertisements began to emphasize that their systems gave the client the possibility of less expensive ink. A smart manufacturer learns from experience, and it's a good practice to look at two items, one dated and one fresh, envelope copy for both ads, and exercise in how to sell someone something they may already have. In this instance, you don't have to look far for items. For example, things such as iPhones and some tablets have updated versions that provide the user with more than the original. Practice revising the specifications of a new product. This type of text is quite relevant. You are attempting to reach the same audience, but you are informing them that the product they purchased is now obsolete. Con, cider an iPad. For the first copy, utilize an older device and write up the copy as if it were the new iPad. In this situation, your advertising content would have been produced at the same time as the last iPad release, so it is a little retro, but there is a very compelling reason for doing so. Once you're satisfied with the copy and have reduced the keyword density to a bare minimum, access a website that details a new iPad and repeats the process, keeping in mind that you don't want the consumer to feel cheated and that you are now providing something that makes his previous iPad appear like a waste of money. Although technology is always evolving, the rules of content writing remain consistent. As a result, your two chosen devices in this activity are things that have been updated and enhanced as technology has grown and expanded. Because this is a high turnover market, your efforts will not be in vain. You'll be able to show someone seeking high-tech content writers how you differentiate it between old and new models while making them appear interesting at the time they were published. In this day and age, an exercise like this might get you a new cues. Tomer, while also providing you with the practice you need to create high-quality, unique writing. Chapter 15. Do's and Don'ts. Do's, learn to be self-disciplined. Writers of all genres must ensure that they get enough sleep so that they may begin a task with a clear head. The finest ideas come from individuals who practice this. Disciplined because they don't bring baggage from other things into the room when they sit down to work. They have a well-organized workspace where they can operate uninterrupted. It should be a motivating environment. If you have not yet learned not to multitask, you must. Develop the habit of focusing on what you are doing to become a successful copywriter. Yes, you may conduct study to have an understanding of what the competitor is doing. Yes, this aspect of the job assists you in keeping your work current, cutting edge. However, after it is completed, you must refrain from becoming sidetracked. Someone who meditates is one of the greatest content writers I know. She claims that doing so allows her to work undisturbed and helps her sharpen her mind for writing. If you believe this may help you, or if you are someone who likes to procrastinate and screw around before getting down to business, enrolling in a class may be beneficial. The notion is that by tackling the content writing endeavor, your mind is completely focused on the task at hand and is free to work creatively since you are physically liberating your mind from thinking about it. Other things, using emotions to appeal to the reader. If you believe that consumers buy primarily for financial or logical reasons, you haven't comprehended how the buying public thinks. Most people will be influenced by how their emotions force them to purchase a certain item. As a result, your content writing should keep this in mind and demonstrate to folks reading your copy how the customer might receive emotional consolation from what you're offering. Clever content authors lull their readers into a sense of confidence, and it is the emotional security that will draw in the most prospective buyers. Always keep this in mind. Your client's satisfaction. The client will pay you for the job you perform, therefore, you must balance your reactions so that you complete the brief and delight the client. Because the customer can yay or nay your work, you must have the client on your side. The simplest approach to do this is to meet with your customer and ask him or her to describe how he or she views the product or service you are describing. This also reveals a lot about what your customer expects. from your final article. Using the logic argument. If you close your eyes and consider the world's top items, you will see that you feel they are top products because you believe they are superior to others in the same market. People immediately think of Apple as a computer industry leader, for example. Apple sells its products to consumers who desire to have the best. Their smooth explanation to clients on their website rationally shows them why investing in the products is prudent and that what they are being provided cannot be beaten. I appreciate the concept that Apple standardizes the price, structure, and that the items are unlikely to be found in low-cost outlets. It validates their claim to be the finest. The issue is that we are duped into buying everything. It might be disheartening to discover that an identical item can be had for a lower price just by browsing around. When writing product copy, you must describe not just why people need the product, but also how it enhances people's lives. It is up to your client whether you utilize the narrative style or just discuss the product in a dry manner. Be truthful. Make analogies if necessary and be honest so that others may believe your remarks. When you accomplish this, you will increase your sales because people will believe what you have stated and have faith in your goods. There are lots of options available for someone who can utilize their language to explain a thing and make others relate to it. Expand your vocabulary. Make sure you're on top of your game as a copywriter by being able to employ terms that offer people confidence in a product they've never had before. If you opt to utilize basic terminology for a simple audience, make the copy memorable so that it stays in their brains long after they have shut off their computer or TV. It's a good idea to perform crossword puzzles regularly since they're a terrific source of great words for future material. One of the finest crossword puzzles forces you to think outside the box. If you're writing content about food, for example, what words besides the obvious might you use to describe that dish? You must create fascinating and stimulating text that acquires popularity only due to the quality of the written word. Content writing, unlike all other types of writing, has a defined purpose to promote a product or service by tailoring writing to the proper market and target audience. Step outside your comfort zone by expanding your vocabulary, and you will be able to create a unique copy. Add some comedy where necessary and make sure that whatever you write is changed several times until you are satisfied with the final output. Great copy stems from brilliant ideas, but it is uncommon that your first attempt will be the one you use when pitching your ideas to a customer. Improve your writing by employing more words and memorable phrases, then edit and snip until the message is insightful and capable of instilling confidence in everyone who reads it. Utilize the advantages. Your product has some advantages that you should use as the foundation for your marketing. You will simply look at the product and see how it will benefit the customer, and then utilize it as the basis for producing your content. You should include some of the advantages and describe what the product does, how it benefits the user, and why they should select this product over another similar product on the market. To have a better understanding, it may be a good idea to sample the product and observe how it works in some circumstances. Take advantage of the flaws of others. There must be some type of competition no matter what kind of goods you are offering. Even if this is the first of its type, it will compete with some other product that has been used previously or can be used in place of this new product. So you must do a thorough investigation to determine the competitor's flaws and use them to your advantage. Is the rival product's pricing too high? Is there no warranty or a limited number of alternatives available? You should look at the competition and figure out what they are lacking in terms of what customers want altering, or how it compares to your product, and then use that information in your copy. Understand your target audience. Each audience segment that you wish to target with your campaign will require a unique approach. A product will not appeal to teenage females in the same way that it would appeal to middle-aged men. Learning about the product's target audience can help you tailor your writing to their needs. You will need to establish a demographic profile of the average consumer and then tailor your content to be most appealing to them. Interviewing, questioning, and examining the most recent group of persons who utilize this product will aid in determining the profile you will employ. Need the following information for this profile: interests, occupation, income, relationship status, ethnicity, age, gender. What is the benefit to me? What's in it for me? Is one of the first queries your audience will ask. Why should people go out and buy your product when there are so many other wonderful choices in the same category? What makes your product or offer unique that they won't be able to acquire elsewhere, or with another product that they might like? You should explain to the consumer how the service or product will make them feel better, save them time and money, or make their life simpler. Is there a specific offer you can make to entice them? Is there a method in which this product will make a significant impact in their life, and why they should not live without it? To market the mate, Ryle, you must include these elements in your writing. Concentrate on yourself rather than talking about the product and how great the firm is. Spend your time talking about how the customer will benefit. The usage of you, rather than we will, have a significant impact on how the consumer responds to what you are saying. You want the text to be entirely focused on the consumer, not simply your company or product, and making the content more personal with it. The you pronoun may make a big impact. Yes, you will still talk about the product to make sure the consumer understands why it is so incredible, but you will focus on presenting it in a personal way that gets the client thinking about how the product will fit into their lives. Consider the medium. The sort of media you employ will have a significant impact on how you write the material. Your blog article, for example, will be different from what you would put in a magazine advertisement or on a billboard. You begin working on the words you will use. You must consider the media you will use for producing this copy, as well as who will view the various mediums along the road. Don't give out too much information. As a new copywriter, you may be eager to provide as much information as possible. You want to give the audience every small perk or another fantastic thing you can about the product. But this can quickly become tedious. Effective content writing will inform the audience only what they need to know to be enthusiastic about the product, and then leave them with a contact if they want to learn more, whether that contact is a phone number, an address, or a website. Unless you are dealing with prescription medications, technological equipment, or something intricate, the best guideline to follow is KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. If you include too much information, the consumer will become bored, forget the information, and lose interest. Be direct and to the point, and you'll be fine. Incorporate a call to action. This is a vital phase that you should not skip, since it will provoke a response from the audience that is reading your text. This is the section of the copy that will instruct the audience on how to respond. It instills a sense of urgency in the customer, telling them that they must make a chase, phone a number, or do something else that will benefit your client. This will make it easier to elicit the desired response, therefore making it memorable. And Simple for the audience to apply. Proofread. Make sure you proofread the information before sending it out. This may be difficult for the copywriter to work on, since they have been so close to the content for so long, so finding someone else who can go over the material and go through it for errors is generally one of the best solutions. Consider having a few other people check through the copy, especially if you work for a smaller firm that cannot supply you with this resource to ensure that you are producing the greatest copy for selling clients' product. These are some of the most important components to include in your content writing for it to be effective. If you want to persuade individuals to buy your items, or if you are assisting new clients, you must ensure that you are employing these factors correctly to help convince them that your product is the greatest with the use of your content writing abilities. Today, content is still one of the most important aspects of a successful online or blog page. If your online or blog website consistently has strong content, you establish yourself as an industry or market pioneer or author. ID, which helps generate more visitors and raises brand introduction or recognition. It also aids in attracting additional transactions. A lot still hinges on effective content, authoring processes, and systems in that role. When you publish bad content, your credibility might be harmed. You mood kill and send visitors away, and you unintentionally discourage them from acquiring your products or investing in your administrations. If you're new to content writing or are perplexed as to why your material is repelling visitors, you may be making some critical errors that are affecting your web or blog page. The following are the top article writing blunders you should avoid starting today. Consider exhaustive titles and features. Remember, as a publicist, that even if you have the finest content, if your claim or feature is bad, no one will tap on or read it. Furthermore, publicists frequently make the mistake of seeking to be over the top and excessively unusual. Even though the technology is an obvious need, it is also critical not to overdo it. When you conceive of too ridiculous features, you'll end up confusing and bewildering your viewers. You make a lot of promises. Readers today can tell when they're being duped and will go immediately if your instances are too ridiculous. Regardless of whether your audience believes your claims, these assurances might be a huge disadvantage for you since you will have impossible wants to please. You talk a lot about yourself or your image. This is still an issue with many online and blog sites today. You have an overwhelming amount of languages in your content. Finally, your typical client will not consider the commercial terminology you employ. The use of a high amount of words might corrode a customer's patience and shatter your conversion rates. Customers must believe that you can satisfy their demands and assist them in solving their problems. Ascertain that the focal point of the web or blog website is your services and what you can give your visitors or end clients. The majority of the content is composed of stuff about themselves, their group, and the organization. As a marketing professional, you must understand that customers visit your website or blog to find solutions to their questions and problems, not to learn about you. When creating content, always tell the truth about what you have to offer. You can spice up these offerings a little, but never go so far that you'll regret it. The quality of the content should persuade readers to take action. Nonetheless, promoting a lot of these might have negative consequences. Conclusion: daily, aspiring professionals in the content writing sector must learn how to profit from well-crafted content writing. When they understand the real point of content writing, they may be better able to get their message across without using sales jargon. You may come from a diverse educational and cultural background. However, be truthful to make a wise DC. Cyan to participate in content writing as professionally as possible. This is because a recent study has proved that the most competitive content creation is critical to the success of any online business. Only the best content writers know how to combine SEO, content marketing, and design to get the most attention for a business. If you know how to create the finest content, you can quickly turn readers into the most valued clients.